The Jack Benny program brought to you by CIL Paints. The Danny Kaye Show, sponsored by Timex of Canada and the Procter & Gamble Company of Canada Limited, and Front Page Challenge, brought to you by General Foods Limited, will not be seen tonight, in order that we may present the second game of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Montreal Canadiens and the Chicago Blackhawks, direct from the Forum in Montreal.
From Montreal, the second game of the Stanley Cup Finals at the Montreal Forum between the Montreal Canadiens and the Chicago Blackhawks. Brought to you by Imperial Oil Limited and Esso dealers, agents, and distributors serving your community.
Good evening, hockey fans. Danny Gallivan and Keith Dancy from the Forum in Montreal, the second game of the Stanley Cup Finals, and now our national anthem.
Mesdames, Messieurs, notre hymne national. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
The Chicago Blackhawks tonight are not dressing to lot and warm, and Gump Worsley is in the goal again for the Canadiens. And Glenn Hall, number one, known by Chicagoans as Mr. Goalie. And the starting line for Chicago, Hay over on left wing, Stanfield, number 6 at center, Nesterenko, 15 on right wing. LaRose, right wing for the Canadiens, Backstrom at center, Ferguson on the left side, J.C. Tremblay over to Ted Harris on the left wing, boards it, slides into Chicago territory. Number 20, in there is Jarrett, and it's called for icing against the Montreal Canadiens. And the officials, Ed Barry is the referee, Neil Armstrong and Bill Morrison are the linesmen. And there seems to be a greater hubbub of excitement going through this big crowd here tonight, more so than on the opening game Saturday night. Now Ferguson gets it. He cleared it out to center, stopped by Hay, who cleared it back in over the Montreal line. Ted Harris hands it off to J.C. Tremblay. A high pass. Vasco starting back with Hay. Hay lobbed a long shot, caught waist high by Worsley. We've just started the second game. Now Ferguson coming down, a lead pass intended for LaRose, stopped by Vasco. Vasco at the Chicago line. Gets a pass to Hay, who comes over on this side and falls, clears it into the Canadian zone. J.C. Tremblay taking over for Montreal. Tremblay slides a pass. Backstrom starting out. Goes to center. Nesterenko missed it. Now Jarrett coming up on the right side. He went one way, the puck the other. J.C. Tremblay shooting it down into Chicago territory. And it is icing again against the Canadiens, and the pattern of play in the opening seconds of this first period in the second game, very much like the game on Saturday. They seem to be playing it rather cautiously. And when these new players come on for Chicago, number 3 wearing Palat's number will be Missick, and Melnick wearing Warren 17. Now Richard facing off against Makita. Ravlich has it at the point, and it went over his stick. He was getting set to shoot it. From the Chicago line, McNeil. A long pass goes down into Canadian territory. In there goes Mackey. A backhand shot by Makita, jammed out of the play by Harper. Bobby Hull moving in. Richard to Berenson. Berenson on the right side to Provo. He's putting it on the line. He shoots it, and it's stopped there by Hall. Now here's Talbot taking a shot. Al McNeil is down, number 19 for Chicago. And McNeil got that quick drive by Talbot. And the man with the trumpet is here again tonight, over there on the west side. Glenn Hall, out of Humboldt, but makes his off-season base of operation in Edmonton. Richard is waved out of there. Berenson, number 23, getting set to face off. He cleared it over. Bobby Hull has it at the side. From the corner. Gets it up. Nikita lost it. Recovered by McNeil, who slides it ahead. Now it goes to the Chicago line. A penalty. Bobby Hull. Provo. Hull's check. Number 14 also going on. And of course, it's the big assignment for Provo, the square shot.
Bobby Hull, 2 minutes pour avoir 5 clés. Et au Canadien, Claude Provo, 2 minutes pour interférence. À 1 minute 55 secondes. The penalty to Chicago Bobby Hull, 2 minutes for slashing, and to Canadiens Claude Provo, 2 minutes for interference. The time 1 minute 55 seconds.
Minute and 55 seconds icing called against Chicago. And we started to say when the public address announcer took over, a big assignment for Provo. We check a fellow like Bobby Hull. And it'll become irritating, no doubt, to Bobby Hull throughout the series as it goes on. Every time he looks around, he'll see Claude Provo. Probably see him in his dreams, too. The penalties came at 1:55, Provo for interference and Bobby Hull for slashing. Now Beliveau cleared it over to the point from the face-off. It's Talbot there shooting it. Beliveau deflected it right on. And Hall had to have that great reflex action. Now it's to the side of the Chicago net. Jared trying to cover up on Beliveau. In goes Bobby Russo, bumping with Vasco. Vasco, number 4, around the net. Now he dropped it behind on the boards. He's back there to get it himself. A right wing pass out over the line. And Talbot has it for Montreal. Turns to get away from Esposito. A pass picked up by Jarrett. Jarrett hands it off to Vasco. Back to Jarrett through center ice. He hits the Montreal line over on this side. Jarrett goes to the corner trying to center it. And Beliveau takes over. Here's Vasco from the point taking the shot. And Harper stopped it. Harper tried to set up Russo. Vasco back to Doug Moens. Number 2, a left wing pass to Esposito. He's jammed in on the boards by Harper. We've played just over 3 minutes here in the opening period. No score. They're playing 5-a-side. Beliveau gets it. He's in on the right side. Beliveau goes to the corner, tries to center it. And Moens cleared it down into Canadiens territory. 20 seconds remaining in the penalties to Bobby Hull and Provo. A back pass to Russo. Russo trying to get in front. And a neat defensive play by Jarrett. Now Russo going after it again. He sprawls on the ice. Harris over to Backstrom. Called on the offside. Ed Harris, the Winnipeg-born rugged defenseman of the Canadiens, had his best game, I think it was the consensus, in the playoffs on Saturday night. There you see Bobby Hull and Provo. The minor officials from New York again. Now Hull and Provo getting set to come back on. Now the puck is out over the line. J.C. Tremblay shoots it back in, and Roberts was stranded in Chicago territory. No score here in the opening period.
For the record books, the Hawks are without Kenny Warham, 2 bad knees. Pierre Palat has a bad left shoulder. A shoulder separation is suspected. Red Hay is playing tonight, but has a possible bone chip out of his elbow.
Now Stanfield going in, and as J.C. Tremblay turning for Montreal, a pass goes to Ralph Backstrom on the right side to LaRose in on the line. LaRose is bumped there. It comes right in front of the crease. McNeil bumping LaRose. Ravlich going to the corner. Now then, Backstrom trying to center it. It's back into the corner. Here's Ferguson around the Chicago net, right out in front. Backstrom's stick was lifted by Hay. Puck is back at center. Ted Harris giving it off to Backstrom. Backstrom a pass to Ferguson. He shoots it in on the left side. Ravlich jammed out of the play by Ferguson. Back to Ted Harris. He takes the shot. And Hall made the save. Ravlich around the net. Up it goes near the line. Backstrom backtracking. Backstrom over to Ferguson. And the pass goes sliding off to the corner. Nestorenko and Ferguson. Backstrom falls. Here's Ted Harris losing it to the point. And it's on the right side. Nestorenko. Over intended for a Hay. And with the Rose rushing Hay, it's deflected over the Canadian player's bench. They played 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Number 6, Ralph Backstrom from Kirkland Lake, 27 years of age. Backstrom trying to catch up with it. McNeil gives it to Nestorenko. He's back in his own zone for Chicago, working now on the right side. A pass goes ahead to Stanfield. A long shot wide of the Montreal net. And is J.C. Tremblay in behind Gump Worsley. A left wing pass picked up by Backstrom. He's working his way out, goes over on the right side. A lead pass to LaRose. Now Backstrom got it again. McNeil clearing it ahead. Off Mackey out over the line. J.C. Tremblay shooting it back in. Here's Al McNeil, a right wing pass to Mackey. Mackey lost it, then hooked it. Berenson clearing it in off a skate. Hay shoots it down on the right side. Ted Harris is going down after it, and Chicago will be called for icing. I think it's safe to assume, I presume, that Lord Stanley of Preston had no idea when he donated the Stanley Cup back in 1893 what a coveted cup it one day would become. And you know, the passing years have only served to increase the glamour, the glory, and the monetary significance of this trophy. It's the oldest competed for by professional athletes in North America. And the winning team now knocked down at the blue line was Harper by Hall. Makita ahead to Mackey. It goes to the line. Canadiens starting back. Richard to Berenson. Berenson back to Richard, cutting on the right side. And he shot that one off the right arm of Glenn Hall. Into the corner. Berenson trying to get it. Out it comes to center. Richard is in over the Chicago line. Ran into Mackey. Couldn't get anywhere. Jared back to Vasco. Up on the left wing. Bobby Hull. A pass goes to Mackey. Back to Vasco. Vasco now working up through center ice. Gets away from Richard over on the right side. Failed to clear it in the first time, and it rolls into the corner. And we have played 6 minutes and 55 seconds in the opening period. No score. The Hawks keep the puck in there. It's behind the Montreal net, number 19. Harper, a long pass. Richard couldn't get it. Berenson has it. He tried to set up Provo. Berenson again going in on the right side. And he's bumped heavily there by Jared. And Jared is going off. Now here's Makita and Richard mixing it up on the board. Richard has a stranglehold on Makita. And let's see if we'll have penalties there. Jared had originally been waved off by Udabari, likely charging on Berenson, who was being covered by Vasco. Just going to be the one penalty, 46-year-old Billy Ray.
Chicago penalty, Doug Jarrett. 2 minutes for charging. The time, 7 minutes, 13 seconds.
At 7:13, Jarrett of Chicago for charging. Oblake now has his power play. Cournoyer, Beliveau, Provo, J.C. Tremblay, and Russo. Nesterenko and Hay up front. Now it goes back to the point. Russo trying to keep it in, and Hay slides it down the ice for Chicago. J.C. Tremblay back there. On defense for the Hawks, we have McNeil and Ravlich leading the four-man Montreal attack. J.C. Tremblay, a pass at Cournoyer. Now Beliveau has to come out over the line. Cournoyer circling. Shoots it to Hall. Hall clearing and not out. Beliveau gets it. He rolled it right in front of Cournoyer, and he had the open side, but he couldn't get a real good shot on the net. Beliveau on the boards. Russo moving in, trying to center it. They hold it there long enough to get a whistle. Cournoyer was in there, had the far side open in similar fashion to the situation that presented itself to him in the game Saturday when he got what proved to be the winning goal. But this time he really did not have control of the puck. The Hawks are shorthanded. Cournoyer jammed out of the play by McNeil. Provo trying to center it. McNeil after him. Here's Cournoyer. He's getting set. He shoots at the rebound. And it's cleared by McNeil. Provo centers it. A bouncing puck. Beliveau. He shot it wide. Now Beliveau is around the net trying to center it. He centered it right out in front. J.C. Tremblay. His shot hit Nesterenko. Beliveau has it again. He centers it. Russo back at the point into the corner. It goes to Cournoyer. Cournoyer to Beliveau. Beliveau getting set, and he centered it over to the other side. In off the boards goes Cournoyer. It's centered right out in front of backhand shot by Provo. And Ravlich tucks it in on the boards and gets a whistle. Nesterenko and Provo mixed it up, and now Al McNeil, number 19, and Beliveau. And linesman Neil Armstrong, number 8, in there to keep them at a safe distance.
Young Yvan Cournoyer from the province of Quebec, the Drummondville area. There's Doug Jarrett sitting out that penalty, and that's the reason the Canadian strength has been showing in this last sequence of plays. They really have got the power play working in the early stages of this game, and of course it was the weapon they downed the Leafs with and the weapon they won the game on the first one of the round.
Chicago nothing, Montreal nothing in the opening period. We're nearing the 9th minute mark, and there are 34 seconds remaining in the penalty to Jarrett. No change in the Canadian power play. Yes, there is one change. We have Duff on the left wing. Provo has gone off. Now Ravlich has it. He cleared it on the boards down to the Canadiens line. Here's Tremblay coming back quickly for Montreal. He hops in on the right side. He takes a shot handled easily by Hall. Ravlich lost it to Duff, who cleared it back in. Now Ravlich coming out with Hay. On the right side to Nesterenko. He takes the hot shot knee high. And that Nesterenko is a tremendous threat when his team is shorthanded. Now here's Duff coming out. He overskates it, clears it in on the left side, and Beliveau was offside by a good 2 or 3 strides. And Jarrett has now stepped back on the ice. This is a lovely spring evening in Montreal. Clear, temperature 46 degrees. The next game in this series will be played in Chicago on Thursday, and then the 4th in Chicago on Sunday. It's McKenzie, Esposito, and Mons. LaRose, Backstrom, and Ferguson for Montreal. A pass off Backstrom's stick. Now Doug Mons cleared it ahead. Talbot going over on the right side. He lost it. Esposito tried to clear it in. It's Talbot on the right side. He hands it off to LaRose. Jarrett clearing it out over the line. Harper, a pass. LaRose shoots it in off the boards, and Jarrett is in there. Now it's back near the line. Ferguson trying to clear it back, and the Hawks coming out led by Mons and Esposito. Esposito couldn't get by Harper. A pass goes to Backstrom. Backstrom getting set, and a hard shot blocked by Hall. Jarrett trying to beat it up on the right side. Now it's number 18, McKenzie. Ferguson gets it. Here's Ferguson getting another shot at it. McKenzie is trying to tie him up. Jarrett, number 20, goes in there. And the play is stopped. 10 minutes and 12 seconds now have elapsed in the opening period. Still no score. The Hawks are in their traveling uniforms, of course. The base color is white. Canadiens' home uniforms, base color red. Now Jarrett has it. It goes to McKenzie. McKenzie rolls it up on the right side. He's racing down in over the line. He puts on the brakes. A pass. Dickey Duff. Ahead it goes. Russo has it. Russo back to Duff, and a great defensive play by Jarrett. Vasco takes over for Chicago. Up it comes to the point to Talbot. He shot it in there. And the Hawks are starting out. Jarrett to Esposito, number 7. He's in over the line. Esposito going to the corner on the boards. He sent it right out in front. Now here's Jarrett. Jarrett taking a shot. And he hit Duff. Esposito tied up. There may be a penalty here to the Canadiens. It could be Talbot going off for a holding on Esposito. And this is the first manpower advantage for the Hawks. The Canadiens had a previous penalty, but it came.
Canadian penalty, Jean-Guy Talbot, 2 minutes for holding. The time 10 minutes, 57 seconds.
10:57 for holding. As we said before, Provo's penalty came when Hull went off. Now Ravlich has it. The Hawks, every man up into the corners. Mackey, he centers it, and Roberts takes over with Berenson. Roberts coming out for Montreal. He's down on the right wing and over the Chicago line, going to the corner. He lost it, and Bobby Hull. Hull working his way out. A pass goes to Makita. Henry is out there, too. Makita having difficulty against Roberts. A long left wing pass goes to Henry. Henry now hits the Montreal line. It goes over on the right side. Mackey going in there. Mackey trying to get the shot. Back it goes to Ravlich, and it goes to Mackey again. Off the boards to Makita. He tried to center it to Henry. J.C. Tremblay having difficulty clearing it, but he takes it out of harm's way to the corner where he is tied up by Henry. Minute and 14 seconds remaining in the penalty to Talbot. Berenson goes off. And Provo, number 14, is on. And when you see Bobby Hull, Provo can't be far behind. J.C. Tremblay cleared it off the boards. Gets it ahead finally to Roberts. He had it bounced high in the air, but gets it down to the Chicago line. Ravlich on this side to Makita. Makita tried to get by Ted Harris. Harris takes it in over his own line and cleared it out to center. Here's Bobby Hull trying to get away from Provo. He does, over the line. Hull has it on the board, passed it back. And now Jim Roberts is trying to get a break. Ravlich is going back, and Ravlich, number 5, beat him to the punch. 30 seconds left in the penalty. Bobby Hull slides a left wing pass to Henry. Over it comes to number 16, Mackey. Mackey is over the line. He's going in for the shot. A loose puck in front of the net. And it's cleared out over the line. Now Provo is down. Going in over the Chicago line. And he just missed on that far side. The Hawks coming back. Makita plays it on the boards in with Hull and Henry. Here's Makita trying to get in front. And J.C. Tremblay shoots it out to center. And Talbot is getting set to come back on. The Hawks are back in. Here's Makita taking the shot. And Nesterenko almost deflected it by Worsley. Out comes J.C. Tremblay. He has Provo with him, and there's going to be a penalty here. Talbot again, I believe. That was behind the play. Talbot, number 17.
penalty, Jean-Guy Talbot, 2 minutes for tripping. The time 13 minutes, 10 seconds.
13 minutes and 10 seconds, Talbot for tripping. He had been back on exactly 13 seconds. So number 13 proved very unlucky for Mr. Talbot. And let's have a look now at the Chicago power play again. They have McKenzie out this time, Esposito, Mons, Bobby Hull, and Jarrett. Roberts and Berenson up front for Montreal. J.C. Tremblay and Ted Harris on defense. Tremblay back in his own zone, cleared it out to center. Jarrett rolls it back to Bobby Hull. There's no score. A pass missed Esposito, and it's cleared down the ice by Ted Harris. Chicago nothing, Montreal nothing here in the opening period, and the Canadiens shorthanded, and the Hawks power play getting organized, led by Esposito, who dropped it back to Bobby Hull. Hull is gathering speed. He's in on the left side. He's getting set. Oh, that shot. Now right in front. Another shot. And Mons missed on a glorious opportunity. Now the Hawks in the corner. It's Mons with Ted Harris covering up. McKenzie goes in there. He's jammed into the boards by Roberts. Now the Hawks trying to clear it down to the point. Mons fighting for possession with Roberts, Ted Harris, and McKenzie. And there was some vigorous shoving there. Ted Harris is down. And that excitement started with Bobby Hull unleashing that tremendous shot. It was just about a foot off the ice. Worsley did the split, but the shot was just wide. And then it came back in front, and Mons had the best scoring opportunity of the game. 14 minutes and 4 seconds have been played in the first period. Chicago nothing, Montreal nothing. And a minute and 6 seconds remaining in the penalty to Talbot. Ted Harris went to the Canadiens bench, and he's being sent back to defense by Toe Blake. Hawks every man up for the faceoff. Toe Blake wants to make another change, and he's sending Provo out, and Berenson goes off. Provo skated out of position. Now McKenzie, number 18, has it in the corner. Out it comes to Esposito. He tried to center it in front. Jarrett shoots. And the Canadiens, Roberts, clears it down the ice. And Jarrett's point-blank range shot was stopped right in front. Back it's Bobby Hull. Leaves it there for Esposito. He dropped it back to Hull. Hull gathering speed, goes over on the left side, a right wing pass. McKenzie going in, and Harris shoots it down the ice. Jarrett, number 20, is back there for Chicago. 27 seconds left in the penalty. Now we have 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the period. No score. It's Esposito coming in over the line. He cleared it in. J.C. Tremblay shoots it from the side of the net down the ice. It goes rolling on end. And it's Hull coming out for Chicago, having difficulty getting skating room. Now he slides the pass ahead. It goes to Jarrett. Jarrett on the right side. Mackey, number 16, going in. Ted Harris gets it off the boards to Provo, cleared it down the ice. And Talbot is back on. Right wing pass. Makita going in on the right side, trying to get it off the boards. And Provo covers up for Montreal. He passed it back. Here's Mackey in possession for Chicago, trying to get it back to the point. He centered it in front. Ted Harris takes it from in front behind the net, shoots it on the boards. It curves down almost to Hall, and it's picked up by McNeil before it went across the goal line. Off the boards to the Canadiens line. Talbot working his way out, gives it to Richard. Richard in on the right side. Left the puck behind. It goes to Richard from Provo. There's going to be a penalty here, I think, to McNeil. Canadiens have the puck. Berenson takes the shot, the rebound. And it's McNeil going off, likely holding, and Gump Worsley, of course, on the delayed whistle, went to the Canadiens bench.
Well, now the Canadiens' power play will come back again, and what a first period for power plays this has been. This will be the fourth shot at it, the second for Canadiens. The Hawks had 2 in a row on those 2 penalties to Talbot, and they did everything but put the puck by Gump Worsley, and he has played tremendously for Canadiens.
Chicago penalty, Al McNeil. 2 minutes for holding. The time 16 minutes, 5 seconds.
At 16 minutes and 5 seconds in the opening period, McNeil of Chicago for holding. Beliveau, Richard, Cournoyer, Talbot, and Russo on the power play for Canadiens. It's Hay and Nestorenko, the penalty killers for the Hawks. And Vasco coming out on defense with Ravlich. Face off to the right of Glenn Hall. No score here in the opening period. It goes back to the point. Talbot playing it to Cournoyer. Cournoyer back to Talbot. He couldn't get it. Here's Nestorenko trying to get a break. He kicked it in over the Montreal line. Around the net. Talbot plays it on the boards to the other side. Richard picks it up on the right wing. He gets away from Hay. Richard at center for Montreal to the Chicago line. And it's stopped by Vasco. And Vasco is shooting it down the ice. And Vasco has had great playoff games in the semifinals against Detroit and here against the Canadiens. Here's Cournoyer going in on the left side. He's around the Chicago net. Back to the point. Over goes Talbot, and he couldn't reach it in time. And it's back at center. Beliveau to the Chicago line. A right wing pass. Richard hands it off to Cournoyer. He cleared it in. Hall knocked it on the boards. Nestorenko couldn't clear it out. Talbot over to Russo. Russo right in front, and it's stopped by Ravlich on that pass in, and Nestorenko starts down, drops it back to Hay, and the Hawks doing a masterful job of killing off this penalty. Now Canadiens again on the right side. Here's Russo going to the corner, giving it to Beliveau. Beliveau, a backhand shot. And Hay trying to clear it out. Had it deflect off Richard, sticking him on the spectators. .40 seconds left in McNeil's penalty. Billy Hay goes over to check number 11. Two minutes and 35 seconds to remain in the opening period. No score between the Hawks and the Habs. Second game of the final series. Now Dave Ballone, number 20, is on for the first time tonight. Matter of fact, the first time in the series, he didn't play on Saturday night. Provo is on too. Vasco gets it, shoots it down the ice. And it's Talbot back there for the Canadiens. Talbot organizing now with Richard, Dave Ballone, and Provo. Talbot from center shoots it into the Chicago zone. Provo going in, and he centered it across the goal mouth. Into the corner. Dave Ballone tied up by Ravlich. It goes to Provo. Now it's loose to Hay, and Hay shoots it off the boards down the ice. 5 seconds left in the penalty to McNeil. He's getting set to come back on. The Canadiens, led by Talbot, go to center to the Chicago line. A lead pass. Dave Ballone couldn't get it, and McNeil is back on. Vasco behind the net. It comes right out in front of McNeil. Backhands it high in the air out into the center ice area. Here's Doug Moens. A pass to Jared, who tipped it in on the right side to McKenzie. Over it goes to Esposito. Esposito from the corner, trying to center it. Here's McKenzie to the other side. Back to Vasco at the point. He shoots it in, and it's trapped behind the net by Worsley. J.C. Trombley to Richard. Richard coming down, and the pass is gobbled up by Doug Moens. Goes to McKenzie. Provo comes up with the loose puck. He shoots it into the Chicago zone wide. Dave Ballone going in there. And Jarrett gets it to Mackey. It bounces at the line. Canadiens keeping it in. And finally Jarrett comes out. He's tied up by Ted Harris. And Harris is going to get a penalty. Likely holding on Jarrett, and then he knocked him to the edge. So the Hawks now will have the odd man advantage.
Well, there has been no score in this first period. It is a better spectator period than the first period in the game the other night.
Canadian penalty, Ted Harris. 2 minutes for holding. The time, 19 minutes, 2 seconds.
And again tonight, Billy Ray not using the total bench strength of the Hawks at all in the first period.
So the Hawks, Mikita, Mackey, Henry up front, and it's Hull back on the blue line with Jarrett. Now Mikita, right wing pass that goes to Mackey. Mackey through center over to Mikita. Mikita into Canadian territory. The pass goes off his skate. Roberts was knocked down at the line. Now Bobby Hull shoots it off the glass from the corner, and is J.C. Tremblay. Losing it there to Mikita. It goes to Mackey right in front, and Henry was out of position and couldn't get it. Now Jarrett keeping it in for Chicago. Harper takes over for Montreal. Mikita is after him, and Harper shoots it into the center ice area. 20 seconds remaining in this first period. Hawks with the odd man advantage, a left wing pass from Hull to Henry. Henry over on this side to Mackey. Mackey over the line, dropped it back. Now here's Mikita. Mikita, back it goes to Jarrett. Into the corner to Mikita. He centered it right in front. Bobby Hull gets it back at the point. Into the corner it goes to Mackey, and the siren goes to end the first period. And the score at the end of the period, there just isn't any, is Chicago nothing, Montreal nothing, and Canadiens outshot the Hawks 11-5 in that first period. And so the score at the end of the first period, Chicago nothing, Montreal nothing. And this game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
The rhythm of machinery, skillfully serviced by technicians who keep Canadian factories supplying the growing needs of a growing country. There is a factory in your basement that turns furnace oil into comfort. This factory is efficient, safe, and economical when it's properly serviced. Esso Home Heat Service provides this care through a specially selected group of the finest servicemen in Canada and provides it to you for just the price of the oil. In the care and maintenance of your furnace, Imperial demands the highest standard of skill from service dealers. To ensure this standard, training courses are regularly offered to your Esso service specialist to maintain his lead in knowledge and skill. Esso Home Heat Service, 2 years in its development, gives you regular free equipment conditioning, plus free 24-hour no-heat emergency service through the finest service organization in Canada. There's more now, more in the future from Imperial Oil.
Hi, everybody. Frank Selke, Jr., along with Ward Cornell and the rest of the Hockey Night in Canada crew, and very happy to welcome with us tonight Carl Brewer, the youthful veteran star of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Carl, you have kind of a, you might say, a 2- or 3-fold duty here tonight. You're going to analyze the game for us, pick some stars, and I understand that you're going to trot over to the other side of the building and make an appearance on the French telecast.
With all that I've got to do here tonight, I would prefer to be playing.
Carl, I'm sure that any player would much rather be out on the ice than sit in a television studio. I think it's more fun for them, for one thing. But let's pry into your mind a little bit, Carl, and get you to analyze the first period for us. What were the highlights as you saw them?
Well, the highlights, in a manner of speaking, I think you'd have to look at it as being a very close-checking period. There wasn't any fast-breaking type of hockey which you become accustomed to seeing when Canadians are playing. Chicago are playing their type of game. They tend to slow the puck down occasionally with back passes and wait for an opportunity for a good break. They've had good opportunities with advantages on the penalties, 4 penalties to 3. But as far as particularly good goal-scoring opportunities, there haven't been many as such, although the goaltenders have made good stops when they've had occasion to do it. One particular play there for Canadians, I think the Backstrom line of Backstrom, LaRose, and John Ferguson are playing very effectively. On one situation there, Ferguson carried the puck behind the net and made a pass out in front, and Backstrom was just ready to belt it into the net, and Billy Hay came in from nowhere to block up that play.
The big defensive play, the one you have to keep the score.
Very true.
Carl, all the fans know, I'm sure, that the Hawks are without Pierre Pilote and Kenny Warham, and from your experience, just how much does the loss of these two players affect the Chicago team?
Well, a lot of people seem to feel that Hull and Nikita are the two fellows who make the Chicago club tick. And in many respects, being a player who has to play against the Hawks, I think sometimes the value of a fellow like Pierre Pilote is underestimated. He's a very effective hockey player, and they miss him certainly on the power play when he plays the point. He moves the puck very well. He's very, very strong offensively. Occasionally he does sacrifice himself defensively in order to move that puck ahead. But they definitely miss him, to my way of thinking. He's captain of their team. He's an experienced veteran, and they miss his leadership out there.
Kenny Warham plays the right side, and you play the left side for the Maple Leafs, and I know that he gives the Montreal defense fits. Does he bother you at all with that great speed of his?
Well, his biggest asset is, well, you know, as you know, he plays with Stan Mikita. Stan is a very adept playmaker. And when the occasion arises, Stan will come up the ice down center, and out of nowhere, this Kenny Warham seems to scoot, and you always have to be aware of his coming.
Well, Carl, we'll have you back in the second intermission. You'll have a chance to work with Ward, your buddy from Toronto. And, of course, don't forget that you're going to have to come back and pick the stars. And bonne chance, mon ami, à l'autre côté de la bâtisse avec nos amis français. Okay, I'm sure you'll do better than I will, Carl.
Right.
Thanks very much to Carl Brewer. Now, let's go upstairs to Red Fisher.
My guest tonight, very happy indeed to have with us Jim Kearney, the sports columnist of the Vancouver Sun, who has traveled 3,000 miles of all things to see a few hockey games, Jim, and don't fret Mrs. Kearney and the children. He'll be home, maybe another week or so. Jim, has this long trip been worth it? What have you seen during the playoffs?
Well, I've enjoyed it, Red, because it's been many years since I've seen a Stanley Cup playoff outside of watching it on television. But I've been a little disappointed in the hockey. I had hoped to see something like last year's Toronto-Montreal semifinal, which was a real skating series. And both the Toronto-Montreal series and now this Montreal-Chicago series to date has been very cautious, mostly checking. I get the impression the teams are playing not so much to win, but not to lose. I think that's the expression.
I dare say, Jim, that perhaps even Herb Capozzi and his British Columbia Lions play cautiously from time to time.
Yeah, I imagine this is what they call a coach's game. You know, there's no scoring, everything's under control, and this is what keeps the coaches from getting ulcers.
Of course, we all know that the coaches make all the money.
Yeah.
Jim, what about this first period tonight? I'll tell you what I think about it first, but first, don't agree with me at all if you don't feel like it. I thought it was a rather exciting period, certainly more exciting than we saw in the opener on Saturday night.
Yes, I think it was, Red. There were a few penalties, and I think penalties always make for excitement because as soon as a team has an odd man and there are a few shots on goal and a few near misses, I thought Montreal had some good chances on a penalty to Jarrett early in the period, but since then, outside of one blast by Bobby Hull that Worsley managed to field down there, I don't think either club has had a real good scoring chance.
Jim, what I would like to hear from you is this. What is the reaction of National Hockey League hockey in Vancouver? I mean, how do the people up in Vancouver feel about the National Hockey League? We can't really tell down east how they feel about it, but how would you say they go for it?
Well, I'd say they get fairly excited about it, much more since the games have been televised out there every Saturday night. And with the expansion coming up, I'm sure that everybody in Vancouver would want to see Vancouver in there.
You mentioned a very interesting word, expansion, Jim. What are the chances, for example? Do you think that Vancouver could support a National Hockey League team?
Well, I think they can. I think they've proven it's professional football. I think the Lions have drawn the biggest gates and the most money of any football team in Canada. So if the money is there for football, I think it must be there for hockey.
Of course, which brings us to a small matter of a rink. Where do you play this hockey if National Hockey League does go out to Vancouver?
Well, in the last 10 years, we've built about 6 rinks out there, in pipe dreams. But Well, when I left town, the last I heard, the Pacific National Exhibition, which owns the football stadium and the racetrack and most other sports facilities in the city, was going ahead on a rank of getting estimates, engineering reports, and everything else. Now, what has happened since I've left, I don't know.
Well, Jim, what about the figures? What about the seating capacity of this rink?
Well, they were talking in terms of 13 to 15,000. That was just a rough start. I think those figures will probably be revised as they get more reports. I have a hunch if they go ahead and do it, they'll do it bigger than that.
Jim, this all sounds very hopeful. I certainly hope, along with you, I'm sure, that the National Hockey League does get out to Vancouver and to other cities. Of course, we've been talking with Jim Kearney, the sports columnist of the Vancouver Sun, and now let's go downstairs to Ward Cornell.
And with us now, one of the great campaigners as a player in Stanley Cup play, and currently the Director of Player Personnel for the New York Rangers, Bert Olmsted. Bert, a lot has already been said in this first period. Have you anything to add to the comments of the other two?
I thought that Glenn Hall turned in 2 or 3 real good saves, Ward. I also think the play of J.C. Trombley is outstanding in this series, and I've watched 2 of the past series, and I think he's a very likely candidate for the Smythe Trophy.
Bert, power play has figured so prominently in both the semifinals and, again, first game of this series, and it's been prominent tonight, although no one scored. And you were a master at it. How do you feel that the power play should be set up and the attitude about it?
Well, might take a long time.
Okay.
These things don't work too quickly sometimes, but actually you have to go on the material that you have on your hockey team. If you have a good shot from distance, you usually play him on the point. You work to your forts. Actually, what you're trying to do is eliminate. This is the only rule in the book that says that you can have a numerical value in players, so consequently, this will take lots of practice, perseverance. But possession of the puck is the big thing, and actually you score from the front of the net up the corner. When we were here with the Canadiens, our big play was to get the puck into the corner and out to big John Belleville, situated in front of the net. Also, we had a strong man in Boom Jeffrey on playing the right point, and Doug Harvey also the left point. We have pretty good hockey players. Consequently, they make for a good power play. But the stress is very, very much that if you don't work at it, you're a man short.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the prime factor, is hard work.
The corner man, what kind of a player has he got to be, Bert?
Well, maybe looking back, you have to have good ears, good eyes, and listen. When you listen out when you're playing, you can tell a lot where your opposing players are.
You can, eh?
Oh, yes. We also know from practice where our players are with regarding the position of the puck. They will go to a certain position when the puck is in the corner. They know where the open spot is. I know where it is or was, and consequently, that's what you play for.
Bert, getting now to your current job or player development, what have you accomplished so far? I know you're a fellow that moves quickly.
Yes, I've moved quite a lot since December, Ward. My first job was to locate and hire many scouts. We have more people working for the New York Rangers now than they've ever had in the entire career, I do believe. We started out in B.C., we worked into Alberta and Saskatchewan. Our Manitoba man has accelerated his program, and also the scouting in Ontario and Quebec.
All right, now what do you look for when you're picking a scout, and then what do you tell the scout you're looking for the Rangers?
The people that we are looking for in the scouting world are people that are that actually participate with minor hockey. They must get along well with children. They must be highly regarded in their community. And consequently, we are looking, the strengths today on athletes are large size. Although there's a couple of players out tonight, Henry Sharon, a very fine hockey player, and he's a small man. It certainly doesn't close the door by any means to small athletes. However, a good big man in hockey is, I do believe, better than a good small man.
And so you're looking for size, plus all of the other skills that go
What did the hockey players skating, shooting?
Skating, shooting, and checking. We can teach them this, but the one thing that a boy must have is the desire to play hockey. He must want to play hockey. We can do the rest for him, providing that he has this desire and determination that he wants to be a professional hockey player.
Just before we ran out of time, Bert, you spent some time in Europe this year looking at some hockey. What was your impression of it? What did you see?
Spent 10 days in Stockholm, Ward. They play very good hockey in Sweden. I watched the Swedish national junior champions play the Norwegian junior champions. However, their rules in Europe do not compare with ours in ruggedness. I do believe the only way that we're going to see Swedish players in the National Hockey League, they're going to have to stiffen their rules a little bit and consequently bring these boys up in their minor, at the minor level, so that they will not make the adjustment at age 20 or 21, that they will make this adjustment at maybe age 14.
Thank you, Bert. Good chatting with you. And good luck to you. Heading for home now?
Going home in the morning.
Heading home to the west, eh? Well, we'll continue with a play-by-play of the second period and Danny Gallivan in just a moment.
You can spot it a mile away. The drive and energy to go all out to deliver top performance. The kind of performance you'll get with new all-out quality Esso gasolines. Quality raised to the highest standards in Imperial Oil history. New all-out quality for the new breed of action cars. New all-out quality for family cars. New all-out quality for greater satisfaction for every car in Canada. New anti-knock power in both Esso gasolines. Full thrust firing power for high compression engines in Esso Extra. New all-out quality matched to new standards set by Imperial Oil Research puts more performance in every gallon of Esso gasoline.
Again, Imperial Oil is fulfilling its promise of more for you with new all-out quality Esso gasolines. Combined with Esso convenience, Esso service, and many other Esso extras, it all adds up to more quality, more value than ever before. At the sign of happy motoring, always look to Imperial for the best.
Since 1915, Imperial Oil has been keeping pace with Newfoundland's progress. Now in 1965, Esso dealers and agents are celebrating 50 years of service by sponsoring community events throughout the year. Best wishes to all the Imperial Oil dealers and agents in Newfoundland and Labrador on their 50th anniversary.
Okay, Keith, the teams will be back on the ice in just a matter of seconds, I presume. There's no score here. Chicago nothing, Montreal Canadiens nothing. And the statistical story of that first period. The Canadiens outshot the Hawks 11-5. We had a total of 7 penalties, 4 to Montreal and 3 to Chicago. Now the officials are coming back on. The teams are just a bit on the ice. There's Gump Worsley leading the Canadiens over on the west side. Glenn Hall going to the net down in the north end, which is the St. Luke Street side of the Montreal Forum. And the next game here at the Habitants Habitat will be a week from tonight. It'll be the 5th game, if a 5th game is necessary, and practically everybody who is anybody in hockey know-how, or at least classifies himself as that, they all agree there'll be a 5th one, probably a 6th one, maybe a 7th one. Right now, there's no score. Ted Harris is in the penalty box. He'll have a minute and 2 seconds to serve. And we have Makita at center on right wing. It's Mackey, Henry on the left side, Bobby Hall out along with Ravlich playing back. The puck is back in Chicago territory. It's Provo and Roberts, the penalty killers, and J.C. Tremblay and Harper on defense. Ravlich leading a 4-man Chicago attack. It goes to Mackey. He's in on the right side, and the shot is blocked by Worsley. Provo gets it. And he hit linesman almost, Bill Morrison, but then it went into the Chicago bench to number 7, Esposito, and got hit with it. But he was moving away, and he just got a bit of it on the side of the face. Harris in the penalty box. Face off at the Canadiens' blue line. Now Makita plays it on the left wing to Henry. His shot is wide, and the rebound from behind the net, J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay working it on the boards. Goes to the corner. Still has it. Ahead to Roberts, and Roberts gets it out to center. Bobby Hull has it there on the left side. It goes to Henry. His pass is knocked down by Roberts. Roberts coming down, and Hull takes over for Chicago, gathering speed on the right side. He's to the line. Played it back to Makita, to Bobby Hull, over his stick. Roberts jammed in on the boards by Hull. J.C. Tremblay getting it out to Roberts. Ahead to Provo. Provo coming down. Harris is back on the ice, and the weak shot is blocked there by Hull. Makita on the boards. Gives it to Henry, who played it behind his net to the other side to number 5, Ravlich. And they are playing 6 aside again, and the Canadiens making changes on the move. Out it comes to center. Harper trying to get by on the left wing. Finally scooped it in wide. And it's Al McNeil in there for Chicago around the net out on the left side. It comes finally to Makita. Makita's down to the line. He shoots it, and it's gloved there by Worsley. Berenson. He just got away from Hull's check. Out it came. McNeil shot it in. Bobby Hull was really setting up Berenson for a tremendous check. When you get hit by Bobby Hull, if you're not looking, you come to a little later and you ask whether they got the license number of the truck. Because the players will tell you in the league that they don't come any more sturdy, no stronger than Hull. Baliveau is on with Duff and Russo. It's Mones, Esposito, and McKenzie for Chicago. Now Talbot from around the net up on the left side. It goes to Duff. He cleared it to center. Esposito takes it. He's taken in on the boards. Baliveau over the line. It's knocked off his stick. Now loose puck. Here's Baliveau getting stabbed, and Hall pulls off a sensational save. And there's going to be a penalty here to Chicago. Jarrett, number 20, he pointed to him, likely be holding. And Baliveau was able to cruise in there and pick up that loose puck and really let it go. But a Hall blocked it.
Chicago penalty, Duncan Jarrett. 2 minutes for holding. The time, 2 minutes, 10 seconds.
Now Picard, number 25, is on for the first time tonight on the power play. He's playing on 1 point, Russo on the other side. It's Cournoyer, Baliveau, and Provo. Hay and Nestorenko up front for the Hawks. It goes to Provo, back to the point of Bobby Russo. He takes the shot, and that one went out, Paul, just wide. Now Provo. Out it comes to Cournoyer, back to Provo. He rolled it right in front, and it's cleared off to the side. Ravlich takes over for Chicago. He takes it in on the boards, and the play is stopped.
Noel Picard's first name comes because he was born on Christmas Day in 1938. Noel, of course, the French for Christmas.
Well, that really makes sense, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Face off to the right of Glenn Hall. No score here in the second period. Now Provo gets it in the corner. Out it comes to Baliveau. An easy shot, a loose puck in front of the net. And Al McNeil is starting out on the left side. Over on the right wing, Hay going in. Russo out to Provo to Baliveau. Baliveau coming down. He takes the shot, and another big save by Hall. And this Glenn Hall is showing great reflex action here tonight. And when a Hall is hot, they don't come any better. And a happy coach, Billy Ray, right now, after Hall has made these fine saves. In the penalty box, Jarrett. Canadiens with the odd man advantage. Minute and 22 seconds left in his penalty. Into the corner goes Provo. He centered it back. Here's Picard getting set. Beliveau scores! Let's watch the replay. Back to Picard, number 25. The rebound. And a backhand shot by Beliveau. In the last 7 weeks, big fellow from Three Rivers has been playing tremendous hockey.
Le but du Canadien, compté par Gm.2. Assisté de Picard et Provo. À 2 minutes 55 secondes. Canadian goal scored by Gm.2, assisted by Picard and the Provo. The time, 2 minutes 55 seconds.
2 minutes and 55 seconds. Beliveau, Picard, and Provo, and Jard was off. Now the Hawks, Esposito, a big save there by Worsley. McKenzie clearing it in. Here's Mons trying to get it. Harris cleared it on the right side. Canadians are leading 1-0. A pass intercepted there by McKenzie. Harris gets it again, and it's cleared down to the Chicago line. Jard over on this side to Bosco. Back it goes to Jard. He cleared it over to McKenzie. And the Hawks shoot it in. McKenzie's bouncing shot goes to the corner. Now it's back to the point of Bosco. He cleared it to the other side. Duff around the net. It's centered right out in front. Now Mons takes the shot. And Worsley got his left glove on it. McKenzie bumping there with Harris, and the puck goes flying high over the glass. Beliveau saying something to linesman Morrison, and Odell Beliveau is arguing that the faceoff should be outside the line. But he didn't get anywhere on that argument. And it's Esposito, Mons, and McKenzie up for Chicago. In on the boards, McKenzie to the corner to Esposito. He tries to center it, and it's Harper around the net, playing it to the point. Bosco's shooting it in. And the Hawks keeping the Canadians hemmed in. Now it's centered. And it's Backstrom around the net. Speeding out over the line. He comes to center. Flipped it into the corner to LaRose. Mons in there. Backstrom gets it. He tries to center it. A backhand shot by LaRose. And from close in, a Hall saved on that. Puck is cleared down the ice into Canadian zone. Harper is back after it. It's played up to Ferguson. Here's Ferguson clearing it to center. And Jard shooting it back into the Montreal zone, and we've played 4 minutes and 35 seconds in the second period, 1-0. Canadians leading on a goal by Beliveau. Now Mons in on the board. Backstrom goes in too. Esposito is bodying there with LaRose. They both go down, and they came up as if they would like to exchange blows, but the linesman moved in quickly again. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
With Esso oil heat, people, no wonder you have that nice, warm feeling.
Canadians won. The Hawks no score. Hawks every man up. Bobby Hull is poised there from the face-off. Makita gets it. Now Makita trying to center it. He centers it right in front. And it's Provo coming away. Richard coming up on the play. McNeil is going to get a penalty. McNeil going off, likely tripping against the Chicago defenseman. And Makita does not like that call. Neither does Billy Ray. He gave that indication, as you saw Ray just about talking to himself in that shot from behind the Chicago bench. So McNeil going off, and that's for the
Chicago. Now McNeil, 2 minutes pour avoir fait trébucher. À 4 minutes 58 secondes. Chicago penalty now McNeil. 2 minutes for tripping. The time 4 minutes 58 seconds.
And that for the Sydney, Nova Scotia native Al McNeil, his second penalty of the game. Came at 4:58 for tripping. Beliveau, Cournoyer, Provo, Picard, and Russo. Nesterenko and Hay up front for Chicago. Now Russo from center. He's over on the right wing, skates back to center. Winds up for the shot. It's wide. The rebound. Provo gets it. Provo shoots it. And from a sharp angle, he's wide. Here's Picard's shot. It's wide. Vasco takes it into the corner. Beliveau against Hay. Cournoyer getting it back to Picard. There's the shot. And it almost hit Beliveau. Nesterenko starting down on the right side. He's in over the Montreal line. Puts on the brakes. Still has it. Holds it on the boards. Plays it back. And it's Ravlich to pass on this side of Vasco. Vasco shooting it into the Canadian zone. And Bobby Russo takes over for Montreal. Now he's leading a four-man attack out over the line at center. A pass, and it's blocked there by Nesterenko. Recovered by Picard. Picard going in on the left side. Trying to get by Ravlich. He lost his stick, and Vasco shoots it down the ice. There are 52 seconds remaining in the penalty. Well, McNeil, Beliveau is going to lead this attack. Right wing pass, here's Cournoyer going right in on goal. And he couldn't come up with it with one hand on the stick. It goes to the point. Picard getting set, and a booming shot wide. Back to the point. Here's Russo. Over on this side to Picard. He's closing in for the shot. And it was blocked by Ravlich. Cournoyer trying to center it out. And it's held behind the net. Ravlich holding it there. Glenn Hall has been great. So has Gump Worsley. Although Hall has been the busier of the two. Number 15, Nesterenko talking to McNeil. 23 seconds remaining in McNeil's penalty. Barry is coming over to the Chicago bench, and there's Carl Brewer. And this is the first Stanley Cup Final Series in 4 years. Now, Brewer has been on the sideline. The Leafs, of course, winning the Stanley Cup in the last 3 years. Now Richard couldn't get it. It's cleared out by Ravlich. Ed Harris over on this side. It goes to J.C. Tremblay. He shot it in, and Vasco takes it around the net. Vasco stops to get away from Berenson. The big moose shoots it on the boards down the ice, and back quickly is Ted Harris with about 5 seconds remaining in the penalty to McNeil, and we've played 7 minutes in the second period. McNeil is back on. Now Berenson got away from Hay. Berenson away from Bobby Hall. Up on the right side. In over the Chicago line. Berenson going in, but the puck was picked up by Hall. Now Richard getting it back to the point to Ted Harris. There's the shot. Berenson shoots it. And it was blocked there by Hall, and Vasco cleared it out. J.C. Tremblay rolling it ahead. It's back to the Canadiens line. Knocked off Provo's stick by Hay. Out it comes. Now Bobby Hall is going in over the line, trying to work his way right through, and he fell. He takes Provo in on the board. Ed Harris around the net. Gives it to Richard. Richard working his way out. Bobby Hall is after him. Here's Hall coming over on the left side, barging in. And let's see. Nikita and Richard are mixing it up. And they'll sit it out for 2 minutes, I guess. And they've been great rivals over the years, Richard and Nikita, two of the great centers in the game.
Bobby Hall is really dishing out the heavy stuff, and that's it.
The penalty is to Chicago Stan Mikita, 2 minutes for high sticking, and to Canadiens Henri Richard, 2 minutes for holding. The time 7 minutes 50 seconds.
7 minutes and 50 seconds. And they're playing 5 aside. Here's Berenson trying to get a pass over on the wing. Bobby Hull takes over for Chicago. Hull working in the corner, played it back to McNeil. It's Hull, Mackey, and McNeil, along with Ravlich. McNeil starting up on the left side. Stopped by Provo. Hull went off balance, and the puck is held against the board. Right to the right of the Chicago bench. Number 18 is McKenzie, little Jack McKenzie. An interesting thing about McKenzie, now you see Nikita and Richard. We'll tell you more about McKenzie later, something we were going to tell you. Now Berenson gets it. He's trying to get in front of the net. McNeil takes over from the corner for Chicago, turns to go the other way, now played it on the boards to Ravlich. Ravlich having difficulty getting skating room against Berenson. Play behind the net to McNeil. 1-0. The Canadiens are leading the Hawks here in the second period. The loose puck is picked up by Ravlich. Ravlich is down at center, in over the Montreal line. He tried to set up a pass to Bobby Hull, and J.C. Tremblay takes over. Tremblay, he's down with Provo. Tremblay bounces the shot, and Hull away in front of that crease to block it. 45 seconds left in the penalties to Richard. And Nikita now. Bobby Hull is in over the line, getting set, and a booming shot is wide. Beliveau takes over for the Canadiens, sweeps away from Mackey, forced behind the net on the forechecking of Bobby Hull, who ran into J.C. Tremblay. Now Ted Harris, a pass to Beliveau. Beliveau is over the Chicago line, couldn't get through. Bobby Hull is coming down. His pass off a stick, still has it. He's over the line, doing some dipsy-doodling. Bobby Hull and Ted Harris get sticks up at each other. And Hull is definitely going off. It'll be high sticking. So the Hawks trade 1-2 punch. Hull and Nikita are together in the penalty box. Richard out for Montreal.
2 minutes pour avoir porté son bâton, trop blessé. À 9 minutes 30 secondes. Chicago penalty, Bobby Hull. 2 minutes for high sticking. The time, 9 minutes, 30 seconds.
20 seconds to go on the other penalties to Nikita and Richard. Bobby Hull at 9:30 for high sticking. 1-0. The Canadiens are leading on a second period goal at 2:55. Beliveau from Picard and Provo, and Jard was off for Chicago. Canadiens now with the odd man advantage. And this is a hard one on the nerves of the coaches. Blake of the Canadiens and Ray of Chicago. They're covering a lot of territory behind the bench. Now Bobby Rooster going to the line, and he lost it there to Jard, who cleared it down into Canadian territory. Is J.C. Tremblay. A right wing pass goes to Rooster. Rooster cutting in for the shot, and a big save there by Hall. Pass out is picked up by Jard, and he shoots it down the ice, and Nikita and Richard are back on. And Bobby Russo, who owns a tremendous slap shot, got that one on the target and was blocked by Hall. Now is J.C. Tremblay coming out, playing it in on the right wing board. Beliveau going in after Hay. It goes to the other side of Richard, back to J.C. Tremblay. He lost it there to Nestorenko, and Nestorenko shoots it down the ice. 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the penalty to Hull. Canadiens starting out, and the pass goes awry to Cornwallis. The Hawks have it. It's Hay back at his own line, dragging the puck. Richard after him. Richard comes up with it. Now he left it there for Picard, and Basco gets it and shoots it to center. Russo for Montreal. Up it goes to Richard. Richard over the line. The pass back, and Hay cleared it out. Here's Nestorenko taking over. Playing it back to Jard over on this side to Nestorenko. Now a loose puck is picked up by Beliveau. Beliveau is over the line. A pass to Richard. Richard working off the boards. He shoots at the rebound. Richard trying to get a shot. And Hay comes up with it for Chicago. Hay circling around. And he looks up at the clock. We played 11 minutes and 10 seconds in this period. that he was interested in the time remaining in the penalty to Bobby Hull. 10 seconds now remaining. Now it's Backstrom over the line, playing it into the corner to Richard. He tries to center it back, and Hay, who is all over the ice for Chicago, comes up with it again. And those are two of the finest penalty killers in the game, Hay and Nestorenko. Now Bobby Hull is back on. Picard is leading the attack. Out he comes, swings away from Hull. He's in over the Chicago line. Here's Picard going to the corner. Jammed in on the boards by Ravlich. Ferguson moves in along with Esposito, and the play is stopped. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal. Nearing the 12th minute mark in the second period. 1-0. Canadiens leading. LaRose moved out of position. Ravlich gets it ahead. McKenzie couldn't come up with it. Now Moan shoots it into the Canadian zone. Back there goes Talbot. And it's icing called against Chicago. The Hawks have Moans, Esposito, and McKenzie out there. McKenzie 18. I was going to tell you before that this is a rugged game of hockey that McKenzie is playing, and he plays it ruggedly. But in the summertime, he has another rugged job. He ropes calves out there in Western Canada. I think his best time about 13 seconds. Now McKenzie cleared it out. Harper over on the left side of Talbot. He shoots it in. Let's see. Going to be, I think, 2 penalties here. Moans, number 2. Ferguson, 22. And they're talking it up as they take a seat in the penalty bench.
Penalties to Chicago Judge Bowman, 2 minutes for slashing, and to Canadiens John Ferguson, 2 minutes for hooking. The time of the penalties, 12 minutes, 4 seconds.
12 minutes and 4 seconds. Ferguson for hooking, Moans for slashing. Now LaRose playing it on the boards. Picks it up again. He's coming out this time with Backstrom. LaRose going to the Chicago line. Ravlich gets it to McKenzie. McKenzie's pass off a skate back into Chicago territory. And it's Al McNeil. Working out on the left wing boards. He stops at the point. Still has it. Gets it ahead to Esposito. He has difficulty controlling it and then shoots it in. They're playing 5 aside. And it's Talbot. Now leading the attack for Montreal. He's out over the line. He comes to center, shoots it in there. Oh, Backstrom was really belted there by number 18, McKenzie. Stopped in his tracks. Now it's Esposito leading the attack for Chicago. He's in over the Montreal line. Here's Esposito getting set, and he slid that shot just wide to the far side. Talbot clearing it out to center. Ravlich has it hooked away. Backstrom and LaRose going in. Here's Backstrom going to the corner, centering it. Esposito is starting away with Bobby Hull. At center, Esposito over the line. Comes over on this side. Into the corner. Esposito has it. There's going to be a penalty here. Talbot comes up on the right side. He has it, and Talbot, I think, will get the penalty for hooking on Esposito. So the Hawks now will have the odd man advantage, with Ferguson and Talbot off for Montreal and Moans for Chicago.
Canadian penalty, John G. Talbot, 2 minutes for hooking. The time, 13 minutes, 36 seconds.
At 15:36, Talbot of Montreal for hooking. And so the Hawks will have the odd man advantage for 29 seconds. 29 seconds from now, Moans and Ferguson will come back on. getting very warm in here. Gump Worsley getting set for the face-off. To his right on the face-off, it goes back to Jarrett. Jarrett at the point, and it was almost a breakaway for Richard, who intercepted. Now Bobby Hull at center ice, weaving around, coming over on the left side. He's over the line, drops it back to Henry. Henry has it. His pass is intercepted by Ted Harris. Harris coming up slowly on the left wing, shoots it into Chicago territory, and it's Jarrett in there against Richard. Nikita ran into Richard. Richard is knocked down. Now the penalized players, Ferguson and Mons, are back on. Henry over the line. Goes in on the right side. Plays it back to Bobby Hull. Hull shooting it in there. A loose puck in front of the Montreal net. And it was cleared by Worsley. Here's Nikita. Behind the net goes Henry. Out it comes to Bobby Hull. Hull getting set. He shot it right on. The rebound. The scramble in from the net. And it was cleared away. It's J.C. Tremblay. Ahead to Richard with Roberts. One man back. Here's Richard trying to set up Roberts. And it was stopped there by Jarrett. Bobby Hull gathering speed for Chicago. Comes back on the left side. He's over the line. Dropped it back. Doug Mons has it. Tries to center it. The puck goes back to Bobby Hull, and the shot hit Harris. Now it's back to the line to Jarrett. And it's Harris in front of it again for Montreal. And he backhands it down the ice. 28 seconds remaining in the penalty to Talbot. 1-0 for the Canadiens. And we have 4 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the second period. A lead pass goes to Esposito. He's in over the line, going right in on goal. A loose puck. And McKenzie missed the open net. Off the board, Provo shoots it down the ice. And the Hawks back again. And it's the Golden Jet, Bobby Hull. He's coming out. Goes through center ice. Down to the Canadiens line. The shot. The rebound back on the boards to Bobby Hull. Hull getting set around the net. He sends it right out in front. And Esposito almost put it back into the net. Talbot is back on. Here's Roberts racing up to the Chicago line. Taken in on the boards by Jarrett. And there's going to be a penalty to Jarrett. Now Gump Worsley is out of the net on the delayed penalty. But the whistle stopped the play before Worsley got to the Canadian player's bench. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Chicago penalty done to Jarrett. 2 minutes for board checking. The time 15 minutes, 52 seconds.
15:52 in the second period. Put it the other way, we have 4 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in this period. Nestorenko and Hay on for the Hawks. Beliveau, Cournoyer, Provo for Montreal. Nestorenko having a bit of a discussion with linesman Bill Morrison, and Advari goes over there. Al McNeil comes in to plead the Chicago cause, number 19. Picard and Russo are on the points for this power play. Russo is holding up proceedings while he gets a new stick. All set for the face-off. Nestorenko tried to clear it. He couldn't. Provo a pass that came out over the line. And it's Hay. Hay back to McNeil. McNeil in his own zone. Shot out. Beliveau gets it. He gives it to Provo. Provo taking the shot, and he grazed the goalpost on that one. Hay shooting it down the ice. And back forward goes Bobby Russo. We have 3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the second period. 1 minute and 39 seconds left in the penalty to Jarrett. Canadiens Picard, number 25, leading the attack. 4 of them up at center. A right wing pass. Beliveau going in against Hay. Hay has it in the corner, trying to hold it there. Now he gets going the other way. Hay around the net, plays it to Nestorenko. And Nestorenko chops it down the ice. 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the penalty. 1-0, the Canadiens leading. A right wing pass to Cournoyer down with Provo in over the Chicago line. Here's Cournoyer cutting. He centers right in front. Russo tries to center it back. He's bodied by McNeil. Out in front it comes to Beliveau. Beliveau to Picard. Picard taking a shot. Provo gets it. He shoots, and Glenn Hall, a remarkable save on that one. McNeil takes Cornway in on the board. Here's Picard shooting it back into Beliveau. Beliveau getting set right to Provo. A shot. The rebound to Russo right in front of the net to Cornway. And he missed it. And Hayes shoots it down the ice for Chicago. 22 seconds left in the penalty. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the period. Change of players for Chicago. Picard dropping it back to J.C. Trombley. The Canadiens have made changes too. Ferguson coming up in the play, going in for the rebound. Ferguson couldn't center it against Mackey. Now Doug Moans getting it to the point, knocked down by J.C. Trombley. It goes to LaRose. Vasco takes over for Chicago. Backstrom is jammed in on the boards by Mackey. The penalty is expired. Now Ferguson over to Ted Harris. Harris winds up for the shot and rolls right into Glenn Hall. Ferguson was taken in on the crossbar by Ravlich. And Glenn Hall, he's been blocking and sliding and flipping and catching and tipping and deflecting and smothering pucks from every angle. Both goalies have been shot. One to nothing. Montreal leading Chicago. The goal by Beliveau early in the second period. Montreal, every man up for the faceoff. Richard, for the second time, is being waved out of the faceoff circle. Berenson against Makita. Mackey and Haller, the other forwards. Now Vasco has it in his own zone on the left wing board. Vasco working down his center. Cleared it wide of the Montreal net. J.C. Trombley in there. Now here's Makita trying to get in front, and he's fanned on the shot. Richard is starting away with Berenson and Provo over the line. It goes to Berenson, called on the offside. Now Mackey, number 16, and Richard shoving. Bobby Hull fell. And I don't think I've ever seen Hull play a game more ruggedly than he's been playing it tonight. Face off outside the Chicago line. 1 minute and 34 seconds left in the second period. The face-off, it goes to Ted Harris. His shot hit the linesman over the line. A backhand shot by Berenson back near the point to Provo. He shoots it, and it goes wide. Mackey with Makita and Hull. Out it comes. Berenson stopping it. Richard took it back to his own line. Bobby Hull handing it off to Mackey, who lost it to Provo. Provo going up a left wing pass. Berenson going in near the corner. He shot it to the side of the Chicago net. And we have 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining. Here's Makita coming down. A pass going to Mackey. Mackey's over the line. He shot a waist-high shot. Worsley blocking it. Ed Harris gets it out to the line. Not over. Jarrett clearing it back in there. The Hawks trying to keep the Canadiens hemmed up in their own zone for the final seconds in this period. Then Berenson clears it out. Here's Vasco. And there's going to be a penalty here. McKenzie was hauled down by Richard. And the pocket is getting a penalty. And that'll give the Hawks about 34 seconds for their power play in this period.
Correction, 19 minutes 26 seconds. Canadian penalty, Henri Richard. 2 minutes for tripping. The time, 19 minutes, 26 seconds.
19 minutes and 26 seconds, Richard of the Canadiens for tripping. The Canadiens are leading the Hawks 1-0 here in the second period. Face off in the Canadian zone. We have Mons, Esposito, Ravlich, Bobby Hull, and McKenzie. Roberts up front with Talbot. Ted Harris gets it. He fails to clear it out. Now Moans takes the shot, the rebound, and it's cleared by J.C. Tremblay. Here's Moans. Moans faking a pass to the corner. Now he tries to get it in front. J.C. Tremblay jammed in on the board. The puck goes loose. Moans clears it to the other side to Esposito. It's loose to the side of the net, and Tremblay gets it up to the point, but not out. Ravlich cleared it in. Now here's Esposito, centering it in front. Bobby Hall going in, but couldn't get it, and the Canadiens clear it down. Talbot going down. 1 second remaining, and the siren sounds to end the second period. The only scoring play, Beliveau from Picard and Provo at 2:55 was jarred off. And in that period, the Canadiens outshot the Hawks 13-8. So the score at the end of the second period, Montreal 1, Chicago no score. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Ward Cornell back in the intermission studio, and with us, one of the fine centers of the National Hockey League from the New York Rangers, Bill Goyette. Really enjoying this one?
Well, not as much as if I'd be out there.
Yeah, that's the way.
Well, but it has been a very good game so far. Both teams are playing extremely well, much better than the first game, I think.
Well, in this particular series, we're seeing some of the really outstanding centers in the National Hockey League against one another. Is there much difference in their styles of play?
Well, yes. Just like every player, some players have their good points and weak points. Big John is the type that'll carry the puck right into the enemy zone. Like he did tonight, he'll carry it into the corner or at least inside the blue line and make his play from there. Others will hesitate a little bit longer. But as far as the styles, everyone has their weak points, and every center studies the other center and tries to figure out what it is and at certain games.
Mm-hmm. You used the expression we were talking earlier tonight that a center prepares a play. What do you mean by that?
Well, he's the key to the line, I'd say. He has to control the puck and start the plan before he gets the puck. Mm-hmm. He has to get into a position where he's going to draw the defenseman or the forward towards him to give a chance to his wingers to get into position and into the clear to get a shot on goal.
Well, now these centers out there tonight, you played against them all, of course. Who gives you the toughest time?
Well, on face-offs, naturally, I think Makita gives me the hardest time. I played for a lot of years with Canadiens, and I played against Big John and Henry, but I'd say Stan gives me the hardest time on the face-offs.
Mm-hmm. What's the secret of a good face-off? Is it a matter of strength, or is it your eyes, or is it what?
Well, it is and it isn't a matter of strength, actually. I'd say it's speed, and the centerman must, first of all, really concentrate on that puck. That referee is holding it, and he's going to drop it at any time, and you've got to be ready for it. You've got to be a little bit more ready than the opposing centerman.
Phil, is there any time in any game where there's an advantage to losing a face-off, losing the draw?
Well, in certain cases, it's like for centermen, what you want is possession of the puck. But in certain cases, like in the face-offs near your own net, if there's a few seconds remaining and you're leading, well, your first thought is to get the puck away from your own zone or your own net. If it's in the opposing end where you want that goal and there's only a few seconds, well, the chances are of scoring if you try to make a play with the face-off very slim. So you must more or less force the puck or try and back the puck towards the net and hope that a goal materializes from that. It did happen to me in the playoff quite a few years back in Toronto, and I just happened to just make a drive for it, and it followed me, and I just put it in.
As a matter of fact, I thought tonight once I saw Beliveau on the face-off seemed to do that with what he was trying to do.
Well, in certain instances, a centerman's got to change his style and his thinking. You can't be letting the opposing centerman know all the time what you're going to do. So you've got to change from trying to keep the puck and batting the puck away and so on.
Just before we run out of time, Phil, I want to ask you about the end of the season. You were sent on a trip to the south by the club. Now, what all was wrong?
Well, I've been dragging a cold since last October. and it developed into what the medical doctors call tracheobronchitis. So I had to look it up in the dictionary and find out exactly what it was, but it's a form of pleurisy. And that laid me up from the middle of February till the end of the season. And the club, that is the doctors, figured that a little sunshine would do me good. And I agree.
Well, right now you look great, so I think it did.
Thank you very much. It certainly helped.
Well, thank you, Phil, and good luck next season when you're back with the Rangers.
Thank
Phil
you.
Goyette will continue with the rest of our intermission in just a moment.
The first half of tonight's telecast has been brought to you by Imperial Oil Limited and Esso dealers, agents, and distributors serving your community.
Independent brewers since 1786. Brewers of Molson Canadian Lager Beer and Molson Export Ale.
Molson Canadian, please.
Molson Canadian, a lager beer that's bright and clear.
It is great beer. Have it all the time.
Molson Canadian, it drinks so smooth any time of year.
You know, I always order a Canadian, but I've never run into anything like this.
Molson Canadian, it's brewed by men who know their beer.
Say, could I have...
Molson Canadian, lager beer. It drinks so smooth, it drinks so smooth, it looks so clear, it looks so clear. It's like by folks who really know their beer. If you know lager, you love green. That it heads the list in brightness and in quality.
Tell you what, you sing about Canadian, I'll go over to the bar and get one.
So next time you've got a thirst for a lager bright and clear.
I'll have a Canadian, please.
Molson Canadian lager beer.
It's the friendly lager.
A few moments ago, Ward and Phil Goyette were talking about Phil's physical ailments. Now let's meet Kenny Warham of the Chicago Blackhawks. And Kenny, before we really get too much involved in the series and the semifinals against Detroit, how about a medical diagnosis of exactly what's wrong with you?
Well, Frank, the doctors in Detroit checked me over after I received the injury, and they said that I have a strained ligament in my left knee. And it's coming along fine, and I hope to be back for the Thursday night's game.
Well, this leads me into that question. The rumors have been flying thick and fast around Montreal that we have seen the last of Pierre Pilote and Kenny Warham in this series. You say you hope to be back on Thursday. That would kind of kill half of the rumor. What about Pierre?
Well, the both of us are going to try and get back for Thursday night. I think Pierre is maybe a little more doubtful than I am. But I was going to try it tonight, and I talked it over with Billy, and he said that he thought maybe another couple of days rest would do me a lot of good.
You were telling me before that your trainer, Nick Guerin, has developed some new sort of liniment. What's the reaction?
Well, I don't think it's... Nick didn't develop it. It's just a new... it's like a liniment. I think they call it DX and O or something. Like
You don't have to drink it, I hope.
Well, you can drink it if you want. But,
it sounds like something you used to use on the horses in the old days.
Yes.
How does the knee feel now that you've been using this new medication?
It feels pretty good, Frank. I can still feel it when I'm out practicing, and if I go to step on it, and break, I can feel it a bit, but it's getting better every day, and I hope to be back real soon.
Kenny, when did you originally injure this now? It was not in the 7th game.
It was in the 7th game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I injured my other knee in about the 5th game, I think it was. And it just blew up like a balloon, but it never got sore. And it looks twice as bad as my bad knee. But it's fine now, and I'm just waiting for the other one to be done.
Well, we were sitting back here in Montreal watching that 7th game, and it seems that I remember sometime in the 3rd period you took a check in center ice, and your knee seemed to buckle at that point. Was that when you were injured?
No, I was injured, Frank, in the 2nd period, if you remember. If you remember the play, Stan and I were breaking over the blue line, and I was kind of waiting for Stan, and I was looking back for a pass when Bergman or Pronovo came sailing across, and he just caught me below the knees, and I just put right in the air. And, you know the way Bergman hits you, he hits you low all the time, and it kind of snaps you. And, that's when I hit, we hit each other, my knee twisted. I could feel it as soon as I got it.
This is one of the hazards of the business, and of course with you being what they term a half pint in relation to the big fellows of hockey, Kenny, do you have to watch a little bit more carefully out there to make sure they don't run over you like a Mack truck?
Well, I think when you really have to watch is when you're going in the corners with these fellas. They like to let you go in first, and then they climb all over you. But I don't know. We've got the open ice. They have a tough time catching.
I know that I was saying to Carl Brewer earlier in the first intermission that here in Montreal, they just dread the Kenny Warham shift on the ice because they've got to chase you all over the place, and I would assume it's pretty much the same in all the other rinks. You have that great speed, and you give them a lot of trouble. Kenny, we're into the second game, and certainly it's a long way from being over, and the series is a long way from being over. I would like the reaction of you and the Blackhawks to what has taken place so far. How do you feel about it?
Well, Frank, the first game, I'm not making any alibis, but our fellows were tired. We had a real tough series, which Canadiens did against Toronto, too. But they had a few more days rest than we had. But our fellows played well, enough on the first game to win it, I thought. With any kind of breaks, we could have come out on top. And this second game, I think it just goes to show that with a few days rest, our fellows are really coming on strong. But the way the second game, each team seems to have their moments, and then the other team takes over. But I think it's been a pretty close match.
Evenly balanced teams, and of course when you get back to Chicago, you'd love to get back there with the series all tied at one point.
It would be nice, Frank.
Kenny, I have a feeling that we're going to see you in the lineup on Thursday night in Chicago, and I hope for the rest of the series because certainly the fans miss you, and I know the Blackhawks do. And if you can talk Pierre into giving it a whirl too, I know that the television viewers would be very happy to see both of you in the lineup.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us, Kenny Warham. Now let's move over to Ward and our buddy over there, Carl Brewer, our analyst. I think, Ward, let's just tell him that the news has come through from the French studio on the other side that there's a job waiting for you in the CBC French network, Carl, anytime you want it.
I prefer to play hockey.
How'd it go? Were you pleased?
My French is limited. So, with that in mind, I'd have to say I was relatively pleased.
And did they stick to the script of the questions they were going to ask you?
Unfortunately, he didn't. It didn't cause too many problems, which I was very pleased with.
All right, let's get to this game as the analyst tonight. What were your feelings about that period? What things would you like to draw to our attention?
Well, in contrast to the first period was a close checking period. This period I thought was a classic in Stanley Cup play. There was a lot of hard hitting, contrary to the first period. There were a lot of fast breaking plays. I really enjoyed the period. It offered everything that you look for in a Stanley Cup play. They had the great plays itself. Beliveau seemed to come into his own there. He got the goal, and Hall had to come up with, I think, 2 good saves on him. And then, I think you may recall, about the middle of the stanza there, he made a play ahead to Cornoyer on the right side, and Cornoyer broke in there, and he made a nice play in front of the net, but fortunately for the Hawks, it didn't result in a goal. And I think there have been this period, more outstanding personal, individual efforts for the Canadiens. As I mentioned, Beliveau. Also, J.C. Tremblay is playing well. And Backstrom, when he gets a chance to play, is playing very effective. He's, as you know, a very speedy skater. And when he's playing on that ice, he controls the puck very well, and he seems to be in the play all the time. For the Hawks, of course, we always have to look to the Bobby Hull. He's fantastic. He has to be one of the greatest hockey players that has ever played hockey. I was much interested in this much heralded duel between Bobby Hull and Claude Provost, and I was watching very closely during the first 2 periods, and there is not a real contest. Provost is very effective, a great checker, but Hull is so fantastic. When he wants to make the moves, he still can.
Thank you, Carl. Well, we'll look forward to chatting with you at the end of the game and hearing your 3 stars. In just a moment, Danny Gallivan and a play-by-play of the 3rd period in this game from the Montreal Forum.
On Hockey Night in Canada, this great arena is alive and colorful with thousands of fans. They enjoy hockey, the big game in the big land, a Canadian tradition. And to ale drinkers, another Canadian tradition is to call for a Molson Export Ale. It's a hearty ale with a satisfying ale flavor. Now, you can prove this for yourself when the time comes to enjoy an ale. Make it a Molson Export. Enjoy it and savor it. This label identifies an honest ale, an ale that's not afraid to taste as an ale should taste. It's a big ale, big in flavor, big in quality, big in reputation. It's Canada's largest selling ale. Next time, ask for Molson Export Ale, the big ale in the big land.
Danny Gallivan back in the broadcast booth in the catwalk. 1-0 as we get set for the start of the third period with the Canadiens leading. And, of course, to use an old bromide, this is another pressure-packed playoff game. And the Montreal Forum, this is the 41st year that they've been in operation. They've had some great moments here as every other rink in the circuit. And I suppose the most spectacular was fashioned by the most spectacular player I guess this game has ever seen. On March 23rd, 1944, Rocket Richard scored 5 goals when the Canadiens defeated the Leafs 5-1. And he told the late Dick Irvin before that game, he said, "Dick, don't expect too much of me. I'm not feeling well tonight." He went out and he scored all 5 goals. And the late Dick Irvin said, "I want hockey players who are not feeling well before the game." 1-0 here, Montreal. In front, Richard went off in 1926. And he has a minute, 26 seconds to serve in his penalty. Only goal, Beliveau and Picard and Provo at 2:55. Jarrett was off. The Hawks have Makita, Henry, Bobby Hull, Ravlich, and Mackey. Now Talbot has it at the Chicago line. He played it back, and it's picked up by Henry. Henry down with Makita. Henry over the line, trying to get in front, and he couldn't beat Tremblay, who backhands it down the ice. Ravlich back for Chicago. Lining up now with Mackey, Makita, Bobby Hull, and Henry. Makita has it. He goes to the line, played it over to Bobby Hull. Hull shoots it off Robert's stick. And that is the highest deflection, I'm sure, in the history of Stanley Cup playoffs. That went up from the 46th row of seats. I don't think it'll be entered into the NHL record book for playoff statistics. Richard in the penalty box. 53 seconds he is remaining in his penalty. 1-0 the Canadiens leading, and now Montreal playing it down, led by Roberts, who slapped it off the boards. Provo going in, and Hall cleared it to Hull. Hull missed it. Provo trying to get it from Henry. Richard still in the penalty box with Bobby Hull. Leisurely from behind the net, dropped it. Now it goes to Makita. Makita with Henry. A long shot. Henry went in there, almost got a rebound. There's a sharp angle shot by Hull that went to the corner. Now Makita centering it in front. And Tremblay shoots it down the ice. And back for it goes Ravlich for Chicago. 10 seconds remaining in Richard's penalty. The Hawks going to try it again. Here's Ravlich coming out with Bobby Hull, who takes the pass on the left side. Hull over the line. Roberts trying to tie him up. Provo starting out. Richard comes out of the penalty box. He falls. Now Makita over to Bobby Hull. Hull couldn't get by J.C. Tremblay, ahead to Provo on the right wing in over the Chicago line. Provo getting set, the shot, and the rebound picked up by Al McNeil. McNeil playing it back to Makita. Makita off the boards, intended for Hull. Richard takes it there. Richard to Provo. He lost it at the Chicago line. Mackey feeding it out. And it's Richard turning for Montreal. Provo trying to clear the pass in on the right side. Had it go over the glass.
And the Hawks still not pressing into service. Mizik and Melnick, all are going with the 3 forward lines and the 4 defensemen right through the game. And that is a cautious brand of hockey the Hawks are exhibiting tonight.
Talbot from his own line to Beliveau. Beliveau feeds it toward the corner. Dick Duff, number 8, going in. He centers it. And McKenzie plays it behind the net to Jarrett. Jarrett to Esposito. He lost it to Beliveau. Now the Hawks bring it out again. And now Bobby Russo working over on the left wing to the Chicago line. Esposito feeds it to center. Talbot gives it off to Harper. Harper shooting it in. Handled easily by Hall, and number 18, that's McKenzie. McKenzie trying to get away, gets it out to Mons. Mons to Esposito over the line, called offside. In this final series this year, the Canadiens are looking for their 11th Stanley Cup victory. And if they win, they'll become the winningest team in Cup competition. Right now, they're tied with Toronto, each club having won the Cup 10 times. Chicago has come out on top in the finals on 3 occasions. Jarrett shooting it down the ice, back into Canadian territory goes Esposito. He touches it. There's no icing. Into the corner, the Hawks. McKenzie trying to center it. Beliveau, number 4, and Esposito 7. And they get in there to tie it up. And the heat is beginning to take its toll on Stanislav Mikita, who comes from Sokol, Czechoslovakia. And the Hawks have Misick with him tonight. He comes from Narliboki, Poland. Now it goes back to McKenzie. McKenzie couldn't get his shot away. Beliveau starting out on the left side. Fires the pass off Russo's stick into Chicago territory. And it is icing in. The Canadian coach, Joe Blake, is infuriated. And now the referee is going to talk with Neil Armstrong to get his explanation on the call. And there you see Toe Blake, a fierce and proud competitor and one of the great handlers of men in the game today. But he was convinced right there that the linesman had urged McKenzie over to the Chicago bench to get a new stick. Beliveau, the captain of Montreal, talking to Advari. The Hawks have Vasco and Jarrett up in over the Montreal line. They have Mons, Esposito, and when McKenzie gets a new stick, he'll be the other forward. 1-0 is the score. There's Gump Worsley ready for the face-off. And this is Gump's 16th season in professional hockey. First time he's been in the Stanley Cup Finals. Jarrett clearing it into the corner to Esposito. He tries to center it. Around the net goes Beliveau. Beliveau picking his way out on the right side. Dumped a pass to Talbot, who shoots it into the Chicago zone. Beliveau going in. And Vasco cleared it away from Beliveau in among the spectators. 3 minutes and 27 seconds have gone by in the third period. And that second period goal by number 4, whom you see there, Beliveau, still standing up. 1-0, Canadiens are leading. And the face-off, it goes across the goal mouth to the corner. Duff is digging in there, played it on the boards. It goes to the other side. Vasco with Beliveau after him. Russo tried to keep it in. Harper rolled it to the corner. Now then Vasco from behind Glenn Hall. It goes to Jarrett, ahead to McKenzie. He tipped it to Esposito, couldn't get anywhere. Now Jarrett playing it to Vasco. Vasco off Esposito. Hawks having difficulty getting their attack organized. Post-checking of the Canadiens. Now Harper ahead to Russo on the right side. Russo trying to work his way in. Comes in front, dropped it back to Beliveau. Beliveau goes near the corner. Beliveau getting set. He centered it. And the Hawks are starting out, led by Esposito and Mons. At center, Esposito is over the line. Dropped it back to Mons, and he lost it there. Backstrom getting away on the left wing. Nestorenko tying him up. And Backstrom played it back into Harper. Harper to Bobby Russo. Off his stick. Backstrom going down, and Vasco stopped it. Harper clearing it to LaRose. LaRose couldn't get by Vasco. Out it comes to center. And Harper winds up for the long shot deflected by Hall. Nearing the 5th minute mark now, the Canadiens, LaRose trying to get right in front. Here's Backstrom. He's around the net. Fails to center it. Vasco played it back to the point. J.C. Tremblay shoots it. And it hit Ravlich in front. In on the boards, LaRose. Sliding on the boards on the ice. Ravlich. And he blocked that attempted pass out by LaRose.
Well, the action getting hot and heavy in this period as the Canadiens hold that slim 1-0 lead. You know, the Hawks, badly hurt by injuries, are hanging right in there. They hung in the first game, and they're right in there in this one.
Montreal, every man up for the faceoff. Now it goes back. J.C. Tremblay couldn't get it. Out it comes to center. Harris playing it back. And McNeil rolled it ahead on the right side. Nestorenko couldn't get through. Ferguson's pass stopped by Hay. Now Ferguson going away again on the right side. And Ravlich on the wing it goes to Nestorenko. He couldn't get anywhere. Now Ralph Backstrom picks up a loose puck. He's in on the left side. Backstrom at the point, plays it over to LaRose. And it's Hayes starting out with Stanfield and Nestorenko. Nestorenko takes the pass, trying to cut in front, around the net. His centering pass hit the side, and Stanfield tried to jam it in from a sharp angle. A lead pass off LaRose's stick to center. McNeil shooting it back in for Chicago. We've played now 6 minutes in the third period. Ferguson slapped it off the boards. It almost came right in front of Worsley in the crease. Here's Ferguson, a left wing pass. Coming out, got away from Ravlich's check. It goes into Chicago zone. McNeil around the net. Played it on the boards. J.C. Tremblay shooting it back in. McNeil for Chicago. A long pass goes to Hay. Hay is down with Nestorenko. Hay winds up for the shot. And it was gloved knee high by Worsley. Stanfield moving in, trying to center it. Stanfield still has it. And it's Talbot trying to get out. Hawks Hay keeping it in. Backstrom picks up a centering pass. He can't get out. The Hawks at the point. Nestorenko slams it toward the corner. And Chicago making changes. They have Bobby Hull on with Mackey now, along with Stanfield. Backstrom takes a shot off Jarrett's stick. Jarrett up on the right side. Mackey took his pass, cleared it in. And now it's Talbot playing it on the right wing boards. Here's Provo. Provo ahead to Richard. Berenson coming up on the play. And he almost got through there. And it's called for icing. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Lager lovers, switch to Molson Canadian. It's the friendly lager.
Face off to the right of Gump Worsley. Nikita trying to center it. It comes to the other side to number 16, Mackey. Mackey getting it back to the point to Jarrett. Jarrett clearing it off to the corner. And it's Harper. Ahead, Richard couldn't get it. 1-0 Montreal leading Chicago. Bobby Hull picks up a loose puck, goes back to his own line to get skating room. Now he's coming through center. It's off his stick. Mackey cleared it in. Berenson slapped it down on the left wing boards, and there's going to be a penalty here. Nikita is going off, likely high sticking on Berenson. Berenson is checking with Advari, apparently indicating that Nikita drew blood, but Advari says no.
Prairie Juvenile Hockey Championship will be held at the Saskatoon Arena on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of this month. 3 provincial champions participating: the Edmonton Knights of Columbus, Winnipeg Calvin Community Center, and the Saskatoon West.
Chicago penalty, Stan Nikita, 2 minutes for a high sticking. The time, 7 minutes, 50 seconds.
Nikita at 7:50. A high sticking. That is the 18th penalty of the game. Bobby Hull coming off, along with number 16, Mackey. Chicago has picked up 10 of the 18 penalties. We have Beliveau on with Rousseau, Duff, J.C. Tremblay, and Picard. Beliveau coming out. He goes to center, a left wing pass. Here's Duff going in on goal, and he lost control of the puck. Duff trying to center it. He does to Beliveau. His shot. Duff gets it. He scores! Here's the replay. Beliveau took the shot. There he is. You watch Duff, number 8. Hall was down. He had no chance on it. So Dickie Duff who has been in the National Hockey League 11 years. He's only 29.
Canadian goal scored by Dick Duff, assisted by Billy Vaux and Jean-Claude Tremblay. The time 8 minutes, 7 seconds.
8 minutes and 7 seconds, Duff from Bellevaux and J.C. Tremblay. And Makita is off for the Hawks. The Canadiens now lead at 2-0 here in the third period. Makita shooting it in. Number 16, Mackey going in against Berenson. Berenson around the net. Now Bobby Hall has it. He tried to drop it off to Makita. Tremblay playing it on the board. Richard over to Provo. Provo coming down with Berenson over the line. Provo takes the shot wide. A long left wing pass intercepted by J.C. Tremblay. He shot it. And Glenn Hall gloved that one. Mackey working out neatly. He gets by Berenson. Ahead to Bobby Hall. Hall trying to get clear. Provo's after him. Hall still has it in over the line, and Provo cleared it out. Now then, Richard circles at the Montreal line, knocked off his stick by Makita. Makita gets it for Chicago, takes the shot from a sharp angle, and it was right on. Provo catching up with it on the right side. Ahead to Berenson. Berenson passed it through center. Al McNeil to Bobby Hall. Here's Hall coming in on the line. He lost it, and Richard cleared it out. McNeil for Chicago. Shoots it off toward the corner. Now we've played 9 minutes and 35 seconds in the third period. Provo's pass goes to the Chicago line. Jarrett to Bobby Hall. Back to Jarrett. Jarrett on the right side to the Montreal line. Couldn't get by Ted Harris. Moan circling back to his own line for Chicago. Gives it to McKenzie. His high shot knocked down by J.C. Tremblay, who played it out. And the Canadiens with a 2-goal lead as an offside are at times playing it cautiously. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
How do you like your beer? Bright and clear like Molson Canadian. Switch to Molson Canadian. It's the friendly lager.
Face off in the center ice area. Duff to Bellevaux. Bellevaux bounces a shot. Hall hands it off to number 20, Jarrett. Now Jarrett into the corner to Vasco. Vasco clearing it up on the left side. Moans his watch. Goes to the Chicago line again. Vasco to McKenzie. McKenzie working from his own line. Played it up to the Canadiens' defense. It's rolled back in. And Talbot. A left wing pass to Duff, and the checking getting extremely close here. Here's Esposito ahead to Doug Moans. Moans is over the line, plays it on the boards to McKenzie. His shot is wide. Rebound cleared by Worsley. Now on the board, it's loose to the side behind the net. Harper goes in there and covers up. The last time Dickie Duff got a goal in playoffs, matter of fact, he set a record. In 1 minute and 8 seconds, he got the fastest 2 goals from the start of the game. That was April the 9th, 1963. And that was against Terry Sawchuk. So he gets a goal here tonight. The Canadiens lead it 2-0. Puck is dumped down to the Chicago line. Vasco playing it ahead. Now then, Jarrett turning. And we have less than 9 minutes remaining in regulation time. It goes ahead to Doug Moans. Moans on the right side to McKenzie. McKenzie plays it off the glass in among the spectators.
Well, the number of souvenirs tonight is not going to cover the National Hockey League, but there are plenty of them hopping over the glass, and what a prized possession that is for a youngster. What a hero a father becomes if he gets one and takes it home to a youngster.
Vasco, his pass hit Bellevaux, bounces back to the Chicago line, and it's returned to Talbot. Here's Duff. He's knocked down. McKenzie, 18, stops at the Montreal line, plays it over on this side of Jarrett. There's his shot off the board. And Talbot takes over for Montreal. He's coming out with Bellevaux and Russo. Bellevaux has it down with Dickie Duff. Duff going in off the left wing boards and Hall out of the net. Jarrett trying to play it in front. Now Duff on a bouncing puck couldn't get it. Talbot stopped it, and Vasco lunging out over the line, had to go in off his body into the Chicago bench. Number 3 there is Mystic. He hasn't been used tonight, and 17 is Melnick. And they're wearing the sweaters of Pierre Palat and Kenny Warren, respectively. Next game in the series, Thursday night at the stadium in Chicago. Bill Hay played at the center. Harris to Backstrom. Backstrom backhands the shot, and it's Ravlich in behind Hall. And since that second goal, the game has settled down into a rather quiet pattern. Both checking, not that wide-open, exciting type of hockey. Chicago trying to get organized now. They need goals to get back in. Ravlich shooting it into the Montreal zone, and in there goes J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay plays it over on this side. Ferguson taken in on the boards by Nestorenko. Now here's Nestorenko coming off the boards. He centers it. And Tremblay cleared it out over the line. Racing for it is Backstrom. And Backstrom couldn't get away. Nestorenko. Pass to Bill Hay. Hay off the left wing boards. Passed it back. Wheeling away on the right side for Montreal at center. It's Backstrom in over the line. Ferguson coming up in the play. Ravlich clearing it. It goes on the left side to Stanfield. He's down with Nestorenko over the line. Stanfield tried to pass it in front. And Roberts lost it to Hay at center. Offside called against Chicago. 7 minutes exactly remaining in regulation time. 2-0 for Montreal. Nikita comes on the ice along with Hay and Nestorenko, who remain out there, and Ravlich and McNeil on defense. Now Stanfield coming back out, and Nikita, who is having a bit of an argument with the referee, Frank Barry, is skating back. Stanfield has been cut. And now Melnick, number 17, is coming on. Gerald Michael Melnick from Edmonton, Alberta, 5'10", 175 pounds. Traded to Chicago by Detroit with Brian Smith in exchange for Litzenberger. That was back in 1961. He's out for the first time in the series. Now Al McNeil playing it back to Ravlich. Ravlich coming out over his own line, swings away from Backstrom through center, shooting it in. Worsley stopped it at the side. Talbot trying to clear it out on the wing. And there's going to be a penalty here to the Canadiens. And it's Hall out of the net. Ferguson number 22, Ferguson, going off. So with time beginning to run out, the Hawks have the odd man advantage. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
What's your pleasure? Ale or lager? Get both in Molson Pleasure Pack.
13 minutes and 21 seconds. Ferguson for elbowing. We have Henry, Makita, Mackey, Ravlich, Bobby Hull. And out comes Claude Provo taking over from Talbot, and Provo will stay very close to Hull. Now the puck slides back into Chicago territory. Provo is after Ravlich. Hull cruises back there. Ravlich, a pass goes to Makita. Makita ran into Provo. Now here's Camille Henry. His pass is stopped, and it's picked up by Bobby Hull. Hull working up on the right side, gives it to Makita. In over the line it comes, and it got caught up on Provo. It fell. Provo coming away, and the crowd hollered on that. They thought there should have been a penalty to Makita on Provo. Now Mackey getting it back to Bobby Hull. Hull coming out through center ice, gets away from Roberts. Hull is down on the line. He's getting set. He dropped it back. There's a shot by Henry. Finally picked up by J.C. Tremblay, and he shoots it down the ice. 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in regulation time. 2-0 for Montreal. 1 minute left in the penalty to Ferguson. Ravlich leading it for the Hawks. In on the left side to Henry. Over on this side to Makita. Makita played it off the board. Trombley couldn't get it. It's to the side of the net. Now Makita working in the corner. He gets it back to Bobby Hull. The shot is deflected. Henry giving it to Makita. They try to send it right out in front. It goes to Ravlich. Ravlich's shot is blocked there by Roberts. And Bobby Hull is back at the Chicago line. 31 seconds left in the penalty. A pass to Henry. Henry over the line. He's throwing in on goal. He shoots on a big save. Bobby Hull shoots it right on. Worsley is down. Henry was poking at it. A wild pile-up in front of Gump Worsley, who was flat in his back. Worsley coming up with one of his biggest saves of the night on that backhand shot by Camille Henry. He was able to wiggle his way in there. That's why they call him the Eel. And then, after it was cleared near the corner, Bobby Hull let go from a tremendously sharp angle, but it was on the short side, and Worsley caught it in his pad. 4 minutes and 59 seconds remaining in regulation time. 2-0 for the Canadiens. Ferguson still sitting at a penalty. 21 seconds left in the penalty. To be more correct, I guess. I didn't think they were going to show the clock. I thought it was 4:59. It's 5 minutes. Pretty hard to split seconds from up here. Gump Worsley, number 30. And you know, Gump has gained over the years the reputation as being the cool, relaxed type. He says, I'm not as relaxed as perhaps I appear. So I guess it's a question of his being calm on the outside and churning on the inside. And Billy Ray now is probably churning as he looked up at that clock. Hawks need 2 goals to get back at even terms. Still lots of time. Now Jarrett at the point, cleared it into Esposito. Esposito trying to center it. It goes off a player. Provo working his way out for Montreal. He's down to center. Dropped it back to Roberts. Roberts shoots it into the Chicago zone, and Ferguson is getting set to come back on. 2 seconds remaining in his penalty. Here's Bobby Hull from center. In on the line. Hull cutting. He's around the net. Trying to center it. Goes to the other side. The penalized player is back on. And Hull racked up Roberts on the board. Ferguson tried to get Jarrett. And bodies are flying around on the board. Teams are changing on the fly. It's McKenzie from his own zone, dropping it back to Hull. Hull has been digging all night, but he has not been able to get these good scoring opportunities. Now Hull coming out, turning. Richard is after him. Hull stays with it, leaves it for Jarrett. Jarrett is coming down to the line, over the line, a left wing pass to Moans. Moans trying to center it. Now it comes over on this side to McKenzie. McKenzie at the point, shoots it on the boards around the net. Doug Moans fired it back in. Richard cleared it down into the centerized area to the Chicago line. 2-0, Montreal leading Chicago. 3 minutes and 35 seconds left in regulation. Richard turning at his own line, gets away from Esposito. He's down to the Chicago line. Over the line, flips it into the corner. Vasco takes over. It's stopped by Harper. He's closing in for the shot, and he slid that one wide. Nesterenko couldn't get out. Bobby Russo shoots it right on, and Glenn Hall kicked it out, doing a partial split. Now Esposito coming at center for Chicago to the Montreal line. Montreal with 4 players strewn across that blue line. Now Richard and Esposito try to tag each other with lefts and rights, but they were at close quarters. They're tied up along the boards, and we'll likely have Esposito and Richard both going off. 3 minutes and 2 seconds left in regulation time. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
For true ale flavor, more people enjoy Molson Export Ale, the big ale in the big land.
The penalties to Chicago's Phil Esposito and to Canadiens' Henri Richard. 2 minutes each for roughing. The time 16 minutes, 58 seconds.
16 minutes and 58 seconds in the third period. Esposito of Chicago for roughing, Richard of Montreal for roughing. Melnick, Nestorenko, Mons, and Ravlich for Chicago. Beliveau is on with Roberts, Harris, and J.C. Tremblay for Montreal. Ravlich from behind his own net slides a right wing pass to Nestorenko. He's at center down to the Montreal line. Nestorenko cutting in. He sent it right out in front of the net. And Roberts got back there to take it out of harm's way. Beliveau shoots it over on an open right wing. Mons back for Chicago. 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining. Here's Mons. A pass to Melnick. Melnick is over the line, takes a high shot. It ends up behind Worsley. They try to center it. It's loose. Beliveau jostling with Nestorenko. Melnick going in against Ted Harris. And the play is stopped.
Well, even though they're behind by 2 goals and we have only 2 minutes and a few seconds left in regulation time, these Hawks, crippled as they are, just never quit. There are the players in that penalty box sitting it out, Richard and Esposito.
Beliveau talking to Gump Worsley. 2 great veterans of National Hockey League competition. J.C. Tremblay goes off, and he gets a tremendous hand. Minute and 15 seconds remaining in the penalties to Richard and Esposito. Here's Talbot coming down with Roberts. Off Roberts, stick into the corner. Ravlich after him. It goes to Melnick. Melnick for Chicago. A right wing pass goes to the point. Talbot getting it into Beliveau over the other side. Harper trying to set up Roberts. Roberts taken out of the play by Ravlich, and Doug Mons starting back for Chicago. He's got lots of speed, goes over on the left side, now over on this side. Melnick trying to work his way in. And it's Talbot for the Montreal Canadiens. 2-0 Montreal leading. Now with 1 minute and 35 seconds. Beliveau to Talbot. A backhand shot from a sharp angle misses. Nestorenko plays it over the other side to Melnick. Goes to Nestorenko. Nestorenko getting away from Backstrom. Goes in on the left side. Knocked to the ice. And Harper cleared it to center ice. Richard and Esposito getting back on the ice in just a matter of seconds. Here's Nikita going in. It slides to the corner now. Richard and Esposito are back. Provo coming down with 1 minute remaining. Provo going in, a pass to Richard. And it's called on the offside. And many of this crowd of 14,438 now beginning to move for the exit. They feel that it's over, but I'm sure that Blake, whom you just saw there, behind the Canadiens bench, is not so convinced. Neither are his players. Goals can come with great rapidity in this game of hockey. Bobby Hall, Esposito, Mackey, Makita, and Ravlich. And Billy Ray now going with 4 forwards for the face-off at the Chicago line. Richard, Duff, and Provo, J.C. Tremblay, and Ted Harris. Richard turning his own line. Now he's coming through the center. He ran into Makita. Provo picked up Ravlich's pass. Provo shoots it into the Chicago zone. 37 seconds remaining in regulation time. Esposito picks it up from behind the net. He dropped it back to Bobby Hall, who in turn gave it to Makita. Makita coming out over the line. They shoot it in there. Off the board. In there goes J.C. Tremblay, and it's called for icing against Chicago, in that Makita shot it from the Chicago side on that center red line. Chicago Blackhawks will fly on a chartered flight out of Montreal about an hour and a half after this game. Canadiens get on the train, and they'll be leaving at 11:59. Now 10:20 approximately Montreal time. Next game in Chicago on Thursday on the face-off. Ravlich getting it back to Esposito. Here's Esposito, a right wing pass to Mackey. Mackey has a pass intercepted by Richard, who cleared it into the Chicago zone. There are 9 seconds remaining. Ravlich around the net, going up on the left side. Into the corner. There are 4 seconds remaining. The Hawks are coming out. A pass to Bobby Hull. The game is over. And Canadiens win it 2-0 to take a 2-0 lead in the series. And the team out there showering Gump Worsley with congratulations. The first shutout of the veteran Gump Worsley, 35 years of age, has recorded in Stanley Cup playoff competition. This is the first time he has ever been in the final series. And so the score at the end of the game, end of 3 periods, Montreal 2 and Chicago nothing. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
In this big land of ours, you'll always find a touch of tradition. In the taste of today, going up.
Everywhere you go, you'll find where people get together. One ale's a brand going up. Order most in the big, big land. Enjoy a Molson Export Ale.
Today's ale with a touch of tradition in its taste to suit a modern ale drinker like you. Molson Export, the big ale in the big land. Going up.
If you like to drink an ale, get true satisfaction. Ask for the brew with flavor that's true. In the big, big land, enjoy a Molson Export Ale.
Canada's largest selling ale.
The big ale in the big land is Molson Export Ale.
From Molson's independent brewers since 1786.
Once again, Jean Beliveau. This is getting to be the Jean Beliveau show.
Well, you have to say those first All-Star when they come, sometimes they're hard to get.
Well, now the team played, did you feel better than the other night even?
Well, I don't think we could have skate like we can. I think we got to play a little better when we're going to go in Chicago for those 2 games.
Now, John, when you moved to Chicago, how has been your success, the club's success in Chicago this year?
Well, I have to say that our record in Chicago is much better than in Detroit. But I don't know exactly. I know we won 1 or 2 games and tied 1 or 2. I'm not sure exactly, but I know that one thing is certain, we're going to have to skate a little better and play a little better, too.
But at least it doesn't have a jinx for you.
Well, I don't think so.
No. Well, John, once again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And now back to Carl Brewer for the reasons for his choice.
Thanks very much, Ward. And Carl is with us to tell us why Jean Beliveau is the first star. Go ahead, Carl.
Well, thank goodness for John. He's made my job somewhat easier tonight. I think I'll get a little argument with my selection of John Beliveau as the first star. He did everything he was asked to out there. I think you recall on Saturday night he was again selected as a star.
Tim Horton picked him that time.
That's correct. And at that time he said, it's not my job to score goals. If I'm called upon to do the checking, well, I'll do the checking. Well, tonight he did the checking, and as well he scored a goal and he assisted on the others. And without a doubt, he was all over there throughout the entire game. Early in the second period, had his first chance on Hall. I think you might recall a play close in at the net there. Russo dropped the puck to Beliveau. He moved in on Hall, a clean breakaway, and Hall came up with a fantastic save. But he couldn't keep him out all night, and shortly thereafter, he got his first goal. And then later on in the game, he set up Duffy for the clinching goal.
Your old buddy.
John Tony.
All right. How about number 2 and 3?
Well, my second choice was Bobby Hull, the blonde bomber. I mentioned earlier that I think he's a fantastic hockey player. I don't think too many people could give me an argument on this. I think he played a fantastic game. They're checking him. They have 2 or 3 men on him at all times. And I imagine he's a bit of a tired hockey player right now because he's carried that Chicago club for a considerable time. Not entirely, but he played exceptionally well. And tonight he did everything that he was asked to. He played the point on the power play. Occasionally he killed a couple of penalties. He had a few good shots on the net, and when any shot he gets on the net is a good shot. He set up plays. He carried the puck constantly. And in spite of the fact that there were 2 or 3 fellows checking him, he seemed to be deeping, diving in and out there. And I was very impressed with his effort.
Excuse me, Carl. Are you glad that you don't have to play as much as Bobby Hull does?
I'd have to give that some thought. I don't really know.
He looks like a worn-out hockey player at times, and then he comes with that brilliant spurt, and he's alive again. It's certainly a great player. How about number 2, Phil?
Number 3 is that young fellow in the net, Gump Worsley. I'd have to go along with Gump for many reasons. He played well. This is his first Stanley Cup final after a good many years in the NHL, and his first shutout. And imagine for that young fellow tonight, it's a very big night. He's very happy.
Probably the happiest fellow down the hall right about now, Carl. How about some honorable mention?
Well, this might come somewhat as a surprise, but I was very impressed with the way Udvari handled the game. The Stanley Cup playoffs involve a great deal of stress and strain, and Udvari called the game very closely. The second period, there were a lot of penalties, which I think played a great part in the outcome of the game. And in the third period, there were very few penalties. He let much of it go for both sides, and I thought he kept the game well under control. And actually, I'm not trying for the Lady Byng next year, but I thought he handled the game very well.
Well, it's unusual, Carl, to hear accolades to the referees in this day and age, so I'm sure that Frank's relatives out there, at least they'll be happy to hear it, and frankly, I think it's a good thing once in a while to give these fellows a little bit of credit. They had a tough job. Anybody else that you want to mention before we close up shop?
It's very difficult, really. I think you could mention everyone. I was very pleased. Not very often do I get a chance to watch games as I did tonight, and I thought both teams played exceptionally well, and there are fellas out there who impressed me a great deal. And the fill-in fellows for Chicago, young Doug Jarrett and John McKenzie, certainly impressive. They filled in capably.
You're going to see a lot more of them next year, Carl. And thanks very much. Once again, Carl Brewer's 3 stars are Jean Beliveau, Bobby Hull, and Gump Worsley. The final score, the Montreal Canadiens 2 and the Chicago Blackhawks 0. Frank Selke Jr. on behalf of Ward Cornell and all the crew, with Carl Brewer bidding you good night from the Montreal Forum.
Brought to you by Molson. Independent brewers since 1786. Brewers of Molson Canadian Lager Beer and Molson Export Ale.
This telecast, Hockey Night in Canada, is the property of the advertisers. Reproduction by any means, in whole or in part, without permission, is prohibited.
Canada 98 presents Out of the Forest, a colorful study of Canada's lumber industry, tomorrow night over most of the CBC television network stations. This is the CBC Television Network.